Okay, welcome all. Let me do a little sound check. There we go. Looks like we're rolling. So, welcome everyone, and apologize for that. Um, that other stream was not working out for me. So, welcome to all of you, and let me say hello to everyone before we get started. Hey, if any of you see anyone over there, please tell them to get over here. All right, so do that. If you find anyone lingering over there in that other dead stream. All right, so let's see. Let's see who we got here. Who are we going to say hello to? I think you guys are going to be very happy with today's show, but let's get started. Let's see. We got Lisa. What's up, Lisa? New location. Yes. RC99. What's up? Sunflower Soul. What's up? Big J Dig. Jojo. What's up? All right. Miss Jones now. What's up with you? Nancy Drew 101. What's up, Nancy Drew? Hey, thank you, Criminal Network. What's up? What's up? Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, let's see. Heather Brown. What's up, Heather? Nobody, nothing. What's up, nobody? Adrian. What's up, Adrian? All right, what's up, Adrian? Let me see. I'm gonna hit some people with this link because now I realize I posted the wrong stream. So let's see. We're gonna post that one. I'm gonna give this to Adrian. Let's see. We're gonna give it to. All right. So let me get back to this. All right. What's up? We got Yeah. Did you guys hit the portal to get over here? RC99, Sunflower Soul, Heather Brown, Susie. What's up, Susie? What's up, Tracy Fleetwood? Boom. What's up, Carol? Listening while driving to work. Last load of the day. Driving for work. Judy Hathaway, what's up? You wasn't sub to this one. Well, hey, maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Everyone over here, make sure you sub. This is the Prof True Crime channel. It's my little baby fledgling channel. Please subscribe here. And there's an entirely different community page here. So you would really honor me if you go subscribe here, because you'll check out a different new community page you might not have seen before. What's up, Jamie? All right, Judy Hathaway, Jamie, Lisa, Heather, Sunflower Soul, Adrian. All right, Jessica Freeman, what's up? Criminal Network, Housebroken, what's up, Housebroken? What's up? What's up? Okay, Westy. What's up, Westy? All right, all you guys up in here. Sunflower up in this motherfucker. 207, Libby tip Snapchat of Abby 213, down the hill 215. Ari's cell phone data showed he was completely gone. They're still trying to make him, boy, you know what? We're going to talk about Sarah Carbaugh today, and it won't be positive. It will not be positive because, hey, you know what? Carroll County got to her. Okay. Carroll County has apparently committed major felonies in getting a witness to, I mean, they're basically obstructing justice. We are dealing with obstruction of justice. What's up, Joe? What's up, Joe? What's Amy? What's up, Amy? All right. What's up, y'all? Heather Brown, Amy, and Joe. What's up? David Rogers. What up? Thanks for coming over here. Hey, JC Marty. All right. Look at that. Criminal Network gifted 10 memberships. Damn. Thank you. And hopefully everyone got a membership. Let's see who got one. I'm going to Heather Brown, Big J, Westy, Lisa, Nancy Drew, Tracy Fleetwood, Joe McFarland, Amy, Ian. What's up, Ian? And Tammy Martin. Looks like Ian's a new listener. You portaled over here, I guess. Well, thanks for the enthusiasm, Phoenix. All right, that was so kind. Yes, it was. What's up, Shibby? Shibby's in the house. Long time no see. David Rogers, Gaslight You. What's up? All right. Portal Police. All right, got spam coming in. I thought I had this ringer off. What the hell? Damn, got some spam. Okay. Hi, everyone. I typed your names but accidentally deleted. Now I'm too far behind to redo it. All right. Carbon. What's up, Carbon? I've been seeing your community post today and yesterday and whatever. Listening while rearranging the sock drawer. Good job. And good job on the community post. Keep them coming. All right. Carbon, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Yeah, the Doug Rice post was fire. Can I get that emailed? Can I get that screenshot? I've never seen that one. That's a good one, though. What's up, Four Pits? Four Pits, you got some crime scene photos? Bill, what's up, Bill? Okay, you saved it for 7 years. I'd love to have it, Carbon, because that one's worth posting myself. I mean, that one's amazing. All right. Judge Gull is also obstructing justice, and she'll get hers. Okay. All right. All right, you guys. Detention Hall, what's up? Bonnie, what's up? What's up? JC Marty says, Sarah is a plant. Check her background. Wow. Why don't you describe it here in the chat? Why don't you describe it in the chat? Feel free to thoroughly describe her background in the chat, JC Marty, because obviously, listen, we'll get right into it. How about this? So you're telling me this lady, okay, we're going to read, I'll read the article, but you're meaning to tell me that her first 2 interviews, she doesn't mention the word blood once, okay? Then magically in 2019, there's blood everywhere. Like she cannot talk about anything but blood instead of mud. And magically, those 2 interviews are disappeared. They're among the disappeared interviews. Oh, what are the odds? What are the odds? Is it 1 in 15 million? I mean, what are the odds? Someone want to explain that? Explain those odds to me? All right. Hey, Prof and everyone I missed. What's up? Okay, I'm back in the saddle channel again. All right. Prof, question, God forbid this goes to appeal. Can that appeal judge use the same horse shit that Franny Goldjudge did? I don't think so. Let's see. Oh, Franny, the Nazi fascist obstructing judge who's co-signing the obstruction of justice. Audra, what's up, Audra? All right. Well, let's see. Carbaugh being mad at Baldwin is like Becky Patty starting a petition to not allow the public to see the PCA for Richard Allen. Yeah, and guess what? You don't think the jury noticed her bad attitude and her sarcasm, which is a cover for rage? So why is she doing what she's doing? Let's figure out a little bit about her, because we're not stupid here. I mean, we're not stupid. If you already knew that they were going to have some compromised witnesses. I mean, hell, most of the witnesses since day one have been compromised. So it's not a big mystery, but we'll be getting into it. Yeah, including this point. I've been waiting to read the article, but yeah, the jacket going from tan to blue, and she went with it because she saw the bridge guy video. All right. What's up, Kayla? All right. The jury is not going to be bossed around by the courts. No, and they also are going to be sensitive. Listen, guess what? That jury is predominantly female. You don't think those women are going to pick up on her snarky ass bad attitude? Because, I mean, that's something women know about, right? Okay. All right. What's up, Westy? All right. So here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to start off with a couple articles to catch you guys up. Now, first one is from the Indy Star. You can call it that if you want to call it that, Joe. I say women are sensitive to the snarky ass bitchy attitude that she pulled today. So, yeah. All right. Delphi murders trial witness. I saw a man covered in mud and blood walking on road. Testimony continues Wednesday in the trial of Richard Allen in Delphi, Indiana. Allen, 52, is accused of killing two teens who went missing February 13, 2017, and were found dead the next day, allegedly. He was arrested in 2022 and faces 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of murder while kidnapping in the deaths of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. On Tuesday, jurors watched an expanded version of the infamous Bridge Guy Nothing Burger video, marking the first time prosecutors showed footage of a man whom they allege is Allen. Yeah, we'll be getting into that too. Journalists from the Indy Star and Lafayette Journal and Courier will cover the case as it moves through the judicial system. Okay. Sarah Carbaugh testified that she decided to drive on County Road 300 North by the Mononhigh Bridge Trail entrance on the afternoon of February 13, 2017. It was a beautiful day and she was off work, she said, so she decided to scope out how many people were using the trail. Later, as she was heading east on County Road, she drove past a man who was walking hunched over with both hands in his pocket. I saw a man covered in mud and blood, she said. Carbaugh described the man's demeanor as sketchy. She said she looked at the man who she estimated was 3 feet away from her car, but he did not make eye contact with her. But Carbaugh didn't tell police about the man for 3 fucking weeks because she was scared. She testified. Later, yeah, but you had two little dead girls. You had 2 little dead girls, but it took you a week to come forward. She later believed that the man she saw was the same man who became known as Bridge Guy. Defense attorney Andrew Baldwin sought to discredit her by picking apart the statement she gave to police during 3 interviews. Baldwin pointed out that she first mentioned the word mud 11 times during the first interview. She said the word mud 13 times during the second interview in June of 2017. The word blood was not in the transcript of either interview. Both of the first two interviews in 2017 did not include the word blood. The word blood was not in the transcript of both interviews, Baldwin said, but Carbaugh insisted she remembers talking to investigators about it. During the third interview, 2 fucking years later in 2019, she mentioned the word blood 16 times. But not the word mud or muddy even once. Yes, it's from today. Carbaugh said she talked about blood more because that's what investigators focused on during the interview. Oh, do you mean that the investigators told you to say bloody? So you said blood 16 times and not mud once? Just like in the very first year, you said the word mud 13 times and 11 times, but not the word blood once. Something sounding a little strange here, Sarah. You think? Cross-examination was intense, with Carbaugh addressing the jury instead of Baldwin. You remember? Okay. Who here watched the Karen Reed trial? Who watched Karen Reed? Did you notice that every time that sinister bitch, Jen McCabe, got an attitude and wanted to be snarky and push her narrative, that she looked on over right at the jury every single time, and even some of the cops, some of the cops. So every time those lying assholes wanted to push their narrative across to the jury, when they were backed into a corner, they'd look right over at the jury, stare them down, and give the answer. Looks like Miss Carbaugh was doing that today. Carbaugh, addressing the jury instead of Baldwin as she answered questions, later grew defensive and sarcastic. When Baldwin pointed out that her statements were not consistent, she said, "I guess not." At one point, Baldwin questioned why she didn't stop to help the man. Carbaugh said she didn't feel safe stopping to help a random man on the side of the road. Baldwin pointed out that Carbaugh had initially told police the man she saw wore a tan coat, but she later changed her mind after she saw the now infamous Bridge Guy video. Interesting. She said she might have thought the coat was tan because he was covered in mud. Seems very credible to you? Does that seem credible? Does mud make a coat turn colors? Boy, I tell you, these people here, Carroll County is as dirty as they get. Dirty as they get. All right, now we're going to move on to Fox 59. Okay, we're going to head on to the wonderful Fox 59 reporting here, posted just a little bit ago. It's called Delphi Murders, Combative Testimony from Another Bridge Guy Witness. Pathologist testifies on autopsies. Day 5 of the Delphi murders trial included testimony from a pathologist and another witness who reported seeing Bridge Guy. Richard Allen faces 4 counts of murder in connection with the deaths of Abby Williams and Libby German near the Monon High Bridge on February 13 of 2017. Indiana police announced his arrest in October of 2022. He's been in custody being abused, neglected, threatened, and drugged, awaiting trial. All right. Tuesday's proceedings included an account of items found at the murder scene and testimony on the infamous Bridge Guy video. Witnesses who reported seeing a man on the Delphi trails also testified. During Wednesday's session, Sarah Carbaugh testified. That's today. Carbaugh described herself as local as you can get. Oh, you mean corrupt, dirty, slimy, sleazeball, meth involved piece of shit? And she went to the trail daily to walk her dogs. As a teenager, she used to walk on the Monon High Bridge, although she stopped when she was an adult. She testified that she saw Bridge Guy walking down County Road 300 North by the cemetery around 4 p.m. on February 13. You know, when Richard Allen was already out of there. While she was driving by, he was hunched over and plodding along with his hands in his pockets. Quote, I looked at him, but he did not make eye contact with me, she told the court. According to her account, the man's clothes were bloody and muddy, with blood visible on his lower legs, feet, and ankles. The rest of him was muddy, as if he had fallen down a hill or into a muddy creek. Wow, just sounds like it was just made for this is just made for fiction. Who wrote this for you? I'm going to label him Bridge Guy because that's what I know him by, she said. She added that she recognized the image later released to the public of the man sought in connection with the girls' deaths. She saw it on the news. Yeah, good point. Richard Allen's car didn't have blood in it. So how did a guy bloody from the ankles down and muddy from the ankles up, how did this guy, or maybe I should say from the knees down, you're bloody from the knees down. Your car has no blood in it? Oh, magical. It's just like everything else. It's completely magical. Carbaugh waited 3 weeks to contact police. She blamed her inaction on trauma and panic, telling the court she was overthinking and having a moment. Doesn't sound too credible, lady. Doesn't sound too fucking credible at all. Sounds like you're a POS. The state didn't ask her opinion on whether Bridge Guy was Richard Allen, because they know none of those witnesses can look at Richard Allen and say, yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy that I saw. You know, maybe they could look at the sketch and say, yeah, that's the sketch that I determined with the sketch artist. But they can't look at that sketch and then point from the sketch right on over to witness Richard Allen and say, that guy in the sketch is that guy that I saw. That guy walking muddy and bloody on 300 is that guy that I saw. Nope. Tell you what, this is the biggest shit show in American legal history. Cross-examination was more difficult and charged at times, however, and Carbaugh became combative with the defense. You think she's a little prejudicial here? You think she's got a little agenda? Defense attorney Baldwin said her 2017 statement consistently said the man was muddy and not bloody. He noted that blood didn't appear in a transcript of her interview, not once. That led to an objection from the state. Oh, please, McClelland, go fucking fly a kite. Baldwin mentioned a second follow-up interview from Carbaugh in which she said mud and not blood a single time. Carbaugh responded that she did mention blood, but police didn't write it down. Oh, isn't that rich? Isn't that rich? She also said her videotaped interview was lost due to problems with the police's recording system. How do you know that, Sarah? Question, Sarah. Who told you that your recorded interview was lost because of the police's recording system? Sounds like you know some things you should not know. How would you have a way of knowing that? The state has said some early interviews associated with the case were lost due to an error. Of course, just like they mysteriously or magically lost Richard Allen's interaction with Dan Doolin. Baldwin gave her a transcript of an interview and asked where it said blood. Good one, Andy Baldwin. Good one. I do not see it in here, but I do remember talking to the officer about it, she said. Oh, of course, and it's not recorded, so how are we to know? Baldwin brought up a third interview from 2019. In that one, he said Carbaugh used blood and not mud. Yes, 16 times blood, not mud once. I understand you're doing your job, she told Baldwin. I saw a man on the side of the road with mud and blood, and that's that. You don't say, lady. Baldwin also took issue with her description of Bridge Guy's coat color, saying Carbaugh didn't say his coat was blue until after the infamous photo was released to the public. Oh, you don't say. You don't say. Baldwin said she called it tan, while she recalled it was more brown, something she explained by reminding the court that Bridge Guy was covered in mud and blood. What are you really trying, Sarah? Why are you pushing so much, Sarah? You're doing a lot of pre-splaining. You're doing what the family does. You're doing what the family does, Sarah. What's going on here? You don't have to explain to the jury that it was muddy and bloody and therefore caused you to recall that it was tan or more brown. You're not smelling good, Sarah. Carbaugh's frustration was apparent during cross-examination, becoming combative and sarcastic at times in response to the defense's questions. Really? Really? How odd, Sarah. How odd. When asked why she waited 3 weeks to talk to police, she replied, cowardly liar here, just a chicken. Odd. Bowen said Carbaugh told police that Bridge Guy had effeminate eyes. She didn't recall making the statement and asked if Baldwin was romanticizing her deposition. He wanted her to check the transcript, but she replied, no, I'm good. Sounds legit to you? Does Richard Allen have effeminate eyes? I wonder here if the person she saw was actually a woman dressed as a man. Maybe she said effeminate eyes because it was a woman and the woman was dressed as a man and was muddy and bloody. Hey, what if that person was muddy and bloody and dressed as a man and was indeed a woman? Well, question here. Why does that person not cross in front of the Harvest Store cameras? Did that person go into the Mears home or butcher shop or shed or barn? Was it a female dressed as a male who was muddy and bloody and walked right on into the to the Mears and got all cleaned up? She later said she recalled seeing a hat, a funky looking hat on Bridge Guy, and told the court she'd been presented with so many samples that it was like a Tinder profile of hats. During jury questioning, she said her car was less than 3 feet away from Bridge Guy. She recognized him as BG, so he was all blurry and walked like a cartoon. Yeah, with a face that was ever changing. Yes. Let all the truth come out. Support the channel. Hit the Cash App, coffee, or hit the Buy Me a Coffee or anything like that. Thank you, Amy. Prof, I'm so glad that you and this chat are here. We need this. We need to accurately discuss Miss Carbaugh in all her glory. It gets worse. Okay, it gets worse here. We're going to talk about another piece of crap, Roland Core. Okay, Roland Core here. After Carbaugh testified, pathologist Roland Core took the stand. Oh, you guys want to hear something rich? We're going to be getting into this. Whose side is the prosecution on anyway, the victims or the perpetrators? All right. Did Sarah grab the microphone and stomp it when she left the witness and stomp on it? All right. All right, y'all. Gay eyes? Yeah. Gay eyes? Or was it a woman? For real? I mean, effeminate eyes. How many men have very effeminate eyes unless they're literally gay and put on the mascara and all the shit? Okay. So, Core conducted the autopsies on Abby and Libby. That occurred on February 15th, one day after they were found dead. A sexual assault kit was administered allegedly, according to Core. There were no overt injuries indicating sexual assault, says Core. He observed no blunt force trauma or defensive wounds. Core testified that he saw a faint linear mark, a reddish mark near the bottom of her lip. Well, that's pretty interesting. I got to give it to Core. Okay, Core, on that point, it's actually kind of interesting. He told the court it could have been from duct tape or cloth. So maybe Abby was silent because she was bound at the mouth. You know? But he added there was no glue or tape residue provided. Well, makes you think it's not duct tape because duct tape always leaves residue. What's up, Noe? All right, thank you. What's up, Joe? Thanks everyone for coming in here. Look at you guys. All right. Abby suffered a single mortal wound to the left side of her neck that hit the jugular vein. He estimated that she bled out in 5 to 10 minutes and said death was not instantaneous. Poor thing. He later said she would definitely have had a chance to react to her injuries. Horrible, horrible what was done to these girls. While Abby suffered the single wound, Libby had at least 3 injuries to the right side of her neck. It could have been as many as 5, Core said, because it appeared the knife made a second pass at some of the wounds. Yes, it does. What's up, Emily? She was hit in the carotid arteries, which would have accelerated her death. She had no defensive wounds and no signs of sexual trauma or restraint, according to Core. He noticed some very small abrasions on her chest. She suffered cerebral edema, swelling to the brain, and due to the severity of her wounds, would have likely died more quickly than her friend. Okay, so a question here. Does cerebral edema occur because the neck is cut? Question. I don't know. Not a doctor. In his autopsy report, sorry. He couldn't tell if the attacker was right or left-handed in either case. In the autopsy reports, Core wrote that some of the wounds were serrated and suggested multiple weapons may have been used. He told the defense during a February deposition that there may have been some class of serration in some of the wounds. Well, that almost sounds to me like both girls. Hmm. That's what I would think, KO. That's what I thought. So all of these years that it was said that Abby, okay, let's back it up. So all of these years that it was said that Abby suffered blunt force to the head, it was actually Libby suffered blunt force to the head. Interesting. Okay. However, he changed his fucking story. He later told the court it was unsettled over the serration issue. He now believes the wounds could have been caused by something like a box cutter. Sounds familiar. Did McClellan tell you to say that? He said the minimum number of weapons needed for the murder was one. Well, obviously, that's obvious. Toward the end of the session, Razi expressed frustration that Kaur met with the prosecution 3 times after his deposition without contacting the defense about his changing thoughts on the murder weapon. So you think he might have been led to say box cutters because this was what the prosecution was trying to do? Okay. Where's Doug Carter? What's up, Blessings Galore? Yeah, where is he? All right. What are the odds he would say a box cutter specifically? Well, sounds like McClellan told him 3 times in 3 separate occasions, or Holman. Sounds like there could have been some leading, just like with Sarah Carbo, right? Right? Because she said herself that the reason she said blood 16 times the third interview, but did not say mud once, just the inverse of what she had always done before, was that law enforcement was asking about blood. So she said it 16 times and didn't mention mud once. Okay. All right. So it's not even a question. He has definitely led. Oh, he was definitely led to say box cutter. Seems like it. Look, dude, we need this box cutter thing to work out. Just go ahead and say it. I mean, dude, these people, they've been coached. Okay, listen, you don't think that family was coached? I'll just go ahead and say it. You don't think every one of those family members who we've already had to sit there and listen to, you don't feel every one of those family members was coached? Remember, that Patty household is a private home. You don't know who visited that home and told who to say what and coached who to say what and do what and lean towards what and allege what. So you know that the family was coached. You know that that Sarah Carball was coached. Sounds like Mr. Core was coached. Whole lot of coaching going on. Yeah. So just a moment, please. Okay, so today's show is called Abby and Libby Open Lines. Let your voice be heard. So I want some of you guys to go ahead and join in this show today. So let me see if I can pop the link, and then I'll get to some questions or comments while we do that. Let's see. Okay. All right. Let's see. And Carrie was shunned. Yeah. Dang, Rick Allen sure had an array of weapons to use during this assault, like the guy morphed into an octopus or something. Yeah, remember how they kept trying to push a big deal that he had a bunch of phones and computers? I'm like, hello, this is called the 2024s. Okay. You go to anyone's house, they're going to have a bunch of devices lying around. Why? Because how many of you have sold your previous 3 or 4 laptops? How many of you have sold your previous 3 or 4 phones? There was a point a couple years ago before I moved to where I am now when I literally had about 8 laptops. Literally had about 8 laptops. Why? Because I never threw one away from 20, going back 25 years or something. I'd never even thrown one away. So so for 7 years, everyone been saying BG had a kit with multiple weapons. Now they want it to be a box cutter. Nobody's mentioned Abby's passcode archive on her phone, and I don't see why investigators wouldn't want to know that. Was the last attempt before or after 2:13 p.m.? Maybe it was addressed in a miss. Good point there. Good point there. Wow. Something else that Andrea was making a point about was about the power off log. The power off log would be very interesting to have as well. I'm puzzled that Sarah claims she heard about the girls being missing via an Amber Alert. I still have my Nokia from 1998. Yeah, thank you. All right. Coat looked pretty full for 2 box cutters. Why smash up your old laptops and HDDs when you can just put them in your loft? That's what I'm saying. I just had them in a closet because get it out. I got a new one. We'll put that old one over there in case I ever need it and get anything off of it. Detention says, Hall says, I'm old enough to remember when everyone was 100% sure Tony Klein was a killer. Well, he still may be. We don't know that. Someone's a killer. I believe it's multiples. I think we got at least 7 involved, at least. But here's what I don't get, says Vetronoga. I don't have or didn't have time to essay them, but did to undress and redress them in wet clothes post-mortem. No time to hide them with leaves, but enough time to use duct tape or to just place sticks extremely carefully on them. And Andrea had another good point. She was talking about, wouldn't you just, if you're trying to cover the bodies, wouldn't you just scoop a bunch of leaves right over the bodies, cover them literally? Those girls were not covered with anything. Okay, now we're supposed to forget all the Klein evidence? Yeah, I know, right? There was allegedly no Amber Alert. How could she have heard one or they were missing before Derek called the cops? See, I don't know that part of it. I never heard that she said Amber Alert, but you guys might be right. It'll be interesting to get the transcripts and read these damn transcripts at some point. All right, what's up, Dick Redshirt? All right. Oh, Andrea's denied without hearing. Well, you already knew that was going to happen. Come on, we're not getting any video of this because it'd be like Karen Reed. It'd be a media sensation. She doesn't want that. She doesn't want it. Prof, did Kelsey say she had 1 or 2 brand new Delphi swim sweatshirts in the car? I thought Snay said maybe 2. I don't know. She had new stuff, brand new stuff. Okay, nobody understands that the defense will recall several of these witnesses, can only cross-examine about the questions asked by the prosecution. Blair will definitely be back. Yeah, I think you guys are in for a huge fucking surprise. All right. But let me deal with this because you probably already have lost the link. I forgot to pin it. First, let's pin this link. I'm going to pin it. All right. If it wasn't a message to Libby's family, why wasn't clothing draped over her at least? Yes, it was a message to Libby's family. They totally effed up on this case. No justice for the girls. They didn't F up. There's a difference between an F up and a cover up. This is a cover up. It's blatantly obvious. Um, Criminal Network has funny jokes. Okay. And now Andrea can file an appeal or original action, and I'm certain Andrea will take this directly to appeal. So great news that lazy Judge Go woke up and responded. Okay. They were definitely displayed as opposed to covered. Thank you. Yeah, I saw people gaslighting earlier. I'm not going to say in whose chat, but there was a certain chat with like 3,000 viewers or whatever, and just the gaslight. It's like those. Look, the sticks were not an attempt to cover bodies. Can we get past that? Can you just do yourself a favor? Go look at the crime scene photos for yourself. When I saw the sketch that a journalist made the other day, I thought maybe the sticks were laid to keep the girls in the tarot poses, with the asterisk star being as an added esoteric symbol. No, there's one stick. The huge tree that's on Libby's left arm is to keep her left arm raised. All those other sticks are bind runes or some attempt at something like that. Okay. All right. Now. All right. I was blown away by the Snate interview with Sullivan. He said Becky led him in the wrong direction in not so many words. Of course he said that because it's true. Listen, I was thoroughly blown away by the Sullivan interview because he thinks everything that I think. It's pretty astonishing, including the fact that Becky gets a hold of you to control you and to control everyone. And it's why everyone that she communicates with is a goddamn troll farm creator that leads you to believe everything. It's gaslit as hell. So sorry. It is what it is. Why would the family attempt for 7 years to control the narrative around these murders of 2 little girls? Could one of the family members have known about the local Odin community and use that as a springboard for deflection of the crime? You mean Becky Patty? Yeah, because she blamed Brad Holder right away. Now, the fact that Brad Holder was Brad 213 is kind of fucking wild. So we're gonna have to get beyond the gaslighting that this is bridge guy walking 2 girls off the end of the bridge and chasing them across the creek and killing them and covering their bodies up with sticks to hide the bodies. No, we got to get beyond that. What actually has happened. Okay. Now let me see. Please hit the link. Okay, I've pinned the link above. Please hit the link so we can get a panel going. But it looks like I have someone already to bring up. So let me bring up our beautiful guest and everyone else. Please join us here because we need your voice. This show is specifically to give you a voice. If you're always hiding, if you never come and step out of the shadows, now's your opportunity. Please come and join us and let's discuss our varied opinions. You don't have to think the same as me. Okay. Let's get her on here. Hey, Adrian.
Hi, how's it going?
Okay, how are you?
Good. Yeah, people are making a lot of really great points in the
Yeah,
chat.
I can hardly keep up.
I know, yeah. So it sounds like they're not quite done with court right now, right?
Right.
Okay. But is the pathologist the guy that you're talking about, is he the one that did the autopsies?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Sounds like he was coached a little bit, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Or led.
Well, and Carbaugh sounds like she was coached pretty heavily.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So, yeah. Do you think the prosecution will be done by the end of the week?
Oh, I hope so, but I think it might bleed on over, forgive the pun, until Monday or Tuesday. I
Okay.
expected that it would be over by Friday, but the way it's looking,
Oh,
hey,
Fiend,
hey,
hello.
Phoenix,
Hey,
What's up?
what's
there he is.
up?
What's up? Yeah, I'm thinking maybe Tuesday or Wednesday,
Okay,
but
cool.
I'm not sure.
Really think that soon? I'm not. I'm I'm really iffy on how long this could go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
me too.
defense has a lot more witnesses to call, don't they?
Well, yeah. I mean, the numbers that they threw out there are kind of like that's the upper end. I wouldn't be surprised if those pare down quite a lot, but some of these witnesses might take a lot longer than a lot of the witnesses that we've seen so
Mm-hmm.
far.
Yeah. Hammy wanted to know if we could talk about that RA was possibly set up before the arrest. I do know that like Alex has said that people were posting his name on 4chan. And I think Prof was it February 2020?
Yes.
Okay. So somebody did post his name there. I think somebody also posted it on Wikipedia or something. But I can't really remember.
Oh, there's some labeling. I think that happened in March,
In
if I
March,
remember
okay.
correctly. Yeah.
March of 2020.
Hmm.
I mean,
Okay.
he's skeptical that's. I mean, they've already kind of gone over in court. Like they're sticking with the Kathy Shank thing, which that was
Right.
for a long time, and
Mm-hmm.
that was. I mean, as far as we know, that's the official story. Um,
Right.
the
Right.
part missing from this story is, you know, okay, maybe she found a paper copy of it, whatever, and it's like, hey, this is suspicious, brings it to somebody's attention. Like the parts that are missing is that this tip was never lost in the first place. It's in the Orion system. They did. He met with he called the tip line. He talked to somebody there. They met with law enforcement officers. They took a report, and they cleared him. So he's
Yeah.
not lost. And then when they said many times, we're going to go back to the beginning and look at everything. I mean, either they clearly were lying when they said they were going to do that and they didn't do it, or every single time that they looked over his tip, they re-cleared him. So he may have been cleared dozens of times, or they're just liars and they never even tried to solve the case. It's one or the other.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, they didn't mention any other reason that he came to light to them. I don't really disbelieve that story. I think that's probably accurate as far as what happened is that this got put under Tony Liggett's nose, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, he made a hunch decision, and he just wouldn't let it go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Look, I'm going to correct KO right here. KO, I know what you're saying. You've said it before, but I'm going to shut you down now, and I'm going to tell you this. It's all love. It's already been addressed. There's no arguing it. Okay. Dawn admitted she was talking about Richard Allen. We've got the receipts. Because I have not shown them here, doesn't mean they don't exist. Take my word for it. If she's changed her story, you have to go ask her why she's changed her story. Okay. She's also gave a reason why she named him. So we're going to get beyond that. But sorry, KO, it's all love. But I'm not going to keep arguing about something that I already know the answer to. Okay. So sorry about that.
Fiend.
Sorry, guys.
No, you're fine. I was wondering if you were going to try and go to any of the trial.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought
because,
you were talking
as an Indianan, as a Hoosier.
No, TBD.
Okay.
I may at some point, but I mean, it does seem a little bit crazy right now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I mean,
But
they're definitely trying to keep people away, and I mean, I'd guess that
yeah.
it's mostly effective.
Right.
But yeah, I may. It depends. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, yeah. Um, well, because Andrea's motion already got denied, which was, I was either of the opinion that, of course, it would be denied, but like that she would wait till, after trial to deny it or something.
You'd take her full 30 days before. I don't know. I think Gull may have gotten a little bit hasty doing that. She probably was better off just to let it sit on her desk. But I think she got emotional about it, and that does expose her to now it can be escalated. So it's really up to somebody to escalate it. I mean, Andrea has the the desire to do that, but she certainly could at this point.
Yeah. Oh, I just can't imagine like foregoing lunch. That like kills me for people. Like, I don't know. That's just really sad. I don't like it. Ugh.
I think the good that
I was impressed.
she's got a bunch of line sitters for her now. There's a lot of people volunteering, so that's
Right.
good.
Yeah, that's true. That's good. Yeah, that would be a godsend, and hopefully for Lawyer Lee too.
I was impressed that she actually kind of compromised a little over letting snacks into the courthouse. Like, wow, like this, she actually budged on something. It's possible. Like, get out of here. I mean, snacks, but I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised if there was some sort of medical thing, or if like somebody had an issue with it, like if somebody was getting faint or something. The
blood sugar liability.
Right. Yeah, she may have been.
Oh my god, man!
I'm sure some people are in her ear telling them, like, you can't do that. Like that's too crazy.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, so far, do you feel like, I feel like the jury's been asking good questions. That's kind of like they're questioning the evidence and stuff. But do you feel like it's, I guess you can never know with the juries. So I'm just curious what they're thinking, I want to get in their heads.
Well, I think they're probably, I mean, everything is in the hands of the jury. I mean, that's essentially the long and short of it. And, I think that so far there's some good signs. And I mean, we can imagine ourselves in their position, like having heard about what's being said and what questions we would have. And they seem to have similar types of questions often, and they are thinking ahead. So, I mean, I don't know. What do you think a jury thinks when like they're like, hey, okay, this is the guy that did it, and then you roll out witness after witness that gives a description that's completely opposite of the guy there, and you're through 5 days of trial, and the guy that's sitting there in the chair, they haven't mentioned his name. Like, I'd be scratching my head.
Yeah.
Well,
Amy has a nice point here. I'm sorry, Adrian.
No, go ahead. What was it?
About the jury asking questions.
Yeah.
Because if you ask questions, you end up at reasonable doubt if you're a reasonable person.
Amen.
And it's good. It's a really good sign.
Yeah.
It is. I'd be curious about, it's just impossible to know, but like, these are just the questions that are getting through. I'm sure that the jury is making some inferences about questions that they're asking that the judge is not allowing. Because they surely have some questions that are not getting through. And like, the jury could have asked, they may have asked of every one of these witnesses, well, is Richard Allen the guy that you saw? Like, that's the obvious question, right?
Right.
Like, whatever description, but is it that guy right there? Like, the reason that we're here? And, if Gull's not allowing that to be asked, I think hell, like,
Mhm.
only this. I mean, the defense doesn't really want to ask that question because a yes is a bad answer, but the
Mhm.
defense is very happy for it not to be asked. So if the state isn't asking it, they're also happy that it's not being asked. They're not because they're not asking it.
Right. Right. It is weird though that like why would you have why why even bother to call like how do you say her, is it Rayleigh? Rayleigh?
I think so.
And okay. Yeah, and all those other guys, if you aren't going to ask them, is that the man that you saw that day in the courtroom?
Well, I mean, the reasoning. I mean, I don't. I mean, it's just speculating on it. The
Mhm.
like, if you don't call all of these witnesses, I mean, you're basically just skipping all this part completely because you
Mhm.
don't have somebody else in their place. But
Right.
also, on you've left this big hole in the story. Like, I mean, it's still a hole now. But
Right.
if you wait until like, if you don't call them, then the defense calls them, and that's just really bolstering their case because
Yeah.
you've heard all this stuff about how he's the guy, and then they're the defense starts off their case being like, look, it's definitely not the guy.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
the state's probably hoping that they forget enough about these inconsistent descriptions by the time the defense gets around to their case. And, the defense is just kind of stuck with, um, I don't know if they have any intent to recall any of these people, but
Yeah.
and it's strange because Andrea touched on it. Typically, like, if you wanted to, if you were going to recall a witness and the state calls them, you could just go ahead and get all your stuff out of the way so that witness doesn't have to come back later. But the Judge Gull was not, she did not want to allow the defense to do that. So
Mhm.
it could be that recall some of these witnesses later in their case in chief.
I think they will. I think I know it drove some of the lawyers crazy where they're like, if she's trying to be more efficient, like the judge, why isn't she letting them proceed with, doing their stuff right then and there? But
Yeah. But I think the one that was brought up, it applied to one of the law enforcement witnesses rather than the eyewitnesses. So, I mean, I think that they're pretty done with them. I mean, the defense, I mean, they got good results, I mean,
mhm.
the physical descriptions alone and
Mhm.
the timing. I mean,
Yeah.
the 215 is just I mean, these are huge wins for the defense as far as it's not our guy.
Do you think there will be any cell phone data brought in? Because, like, to me, that's been the biggest question. I just want to know, like, even after trial, I want somebody to say, like, even if it's just like, Kathy Allen being like, well, he told me he was there from this time and then he was home at this time, you know? Like, I just want to know where
Yeah, I think there's
exactly,
going to be. I think there will be. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not sure.
Because, like, it just sucks that,
Um,
like, she wasn't even able to come out and be like, yeah, he was home for dinner, or something. I don't
well, I mean, they're not.
know.
The I doubt she would testify for the state, and I
Right.
think that unless they're really up against it, they probably don't want her testifying for the
No,
defense. But
no.
so, I mean, what she has to say isn't really going to come into the case. I mean, I think that,
Yeah.
Baldwin prefaced it that the hard data and the cell phones is going to be what proves it, and that's hard evidence rather than.
Do you think they have it, though? Do you think they gave it over?
I mean, they certainly don't have everything. We talked about the power off log being gone. I mean, it's just evidence that's been destroyed. I mean, and that's something that you'd hope that the jury's going to key in on. And what's up with all this evidence that has been destroyed?
How much has been destroyed? Yeah.
Right.
Right. And why, like, if a defense attorney knows, and it's not even her job to necessarily know this, but if she knows you're supposed to clone the phone right away, even back, she was like, I knew that back in, 2011, 2012, this is Andrea Burkhart. Why didn't the guy that trained to do like data, technology retrieval, why didn't he know to clone it, to like preserve it,
Well, they're either incompetent and they can't do their job, or they're lying and
Right,
they're coordinating destroying evidence intentionally.
right.
It's the same with the recordings. Like, are they so stupid that they just accidentally recorded over all of the interviews, or did they do it intentionally? Like, they want to have like a happy explanation of like, shit happens, it was just an accident. Like, okay, how many accidents are you gonna have? Like, you think the jury's not gonna notice that all these accidents that coincidentally like
Right.
make it so that none of this evidence is getting into this trial?
Coincidentally, yeah.
Right.
So almost everything important that would be exculpatory.
Yeah, and then why is Mullen still there? Why did he keep his job all through that and then go and work for the prosecutor? Like, why wasn't he fired? Why are none of these people fired when they mess up?
Well, maybe it wasn't a mess up. Maybe it was doing a good job.
Good
But,
job.
well, okay,
That's how
fair.
you climb that ladder, baby.
Way to destroy that evidence, bro.
I mean, seriously, yeah.
I know. Like, at this point, it's just kind of like, because we know we're so in it though, that's the problem. I'm like, do I trust myself because I know so much more of the story? Or is the jury like, this more of this stuff is not adding up,
I mean, I would be cautious to anybody on any side, no matter how much you think you know. Like,
Right,
a lot of stuff has already come out in just a few days of stuff that
right,
you thought you knew and you didn't
right.
know. You were
Amen.
wrong about it, Like,
Right.
and so I would wait to hear what's coming out, and sure, like, compare it to things that you thought you knew, but like, we've got additional details that we definitely didn't know, and they do not
Yeah.
jive.
But here's another thing. Like, if they are looking for a gun because they think they hear gun from one of the girls, and then they go and play the the recording and nobody hears gun, like, isn't that another thing that's adding to
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
like a whole
they already pulled that scam. I mean, yeah,
right,
the entire search warrant in
right,
PCA is based off of fabrications, and
right,
the the way to remedy that, the search warrant being full of lies and omissions, was to have a Franks hearing, and
yep,
that's what Judge Gull told them to do: file a
yeah,
Franks
she
motion.
recommended that.
And then she never ruled on it. Then she got rid of the defense attorneys, and then she told the new defense attorneys that they could have their Franks hearing. But when the
Mhm.
old ones came back, she just denied it without a hearing. And I mean,
Right.
that was the remedy to fix all these lies. So
Hmm.
they already got away with it. That part's in the past. They we're at a trial.
Yeah, yeah, amen.
And I mean, we see that the story that's in the PCA is not like the reality. It's not what's being presented in trial.
Hmm.
We're getting completely different descriptions. We're getting completely different times. We're not hearing the things on the video. We're not seeing the things.
Hmm.
I mean, none of it's adding up. So
None of it.
I'd put the PCA and the search warrant out of mind, and just recognize that those were just a tool to get to this point, and here we are at this point. But
Does the jury get to read the PCA?
no,
No. Okay.
it's not relevant. I mean, they're what'll be relevant are depositions that law enforcement officers have done, and things that they've said in the past.
Yeah.
And you think that a cross on Sarah Carvajal is going to be heated. Wait till you get Jerry Holman up there, Steve Mullen.
Oh,
Like they're like, and those might go on for a while, and it's not going to be pretty because they're going to have a lot of questions they have to answer. Like there's a bunch of things they've said in the past that you're going to have to say something now.
yep.
On the record. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's and this is all going to happen before defense even presents its litany of witnesses who are going to just totally knock the foundation out from under this, as weak as it already is. But I mean, it's turning out to be, remember, Adrian, how I was telling you behind the scenes, how this is turning out to be so much worse than I thought it would be, so much sooner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's immediately going into like total shit show. And I
Right.
thought it would at least be like a week of good, like, theater and
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. And like, oh, at least like the state came with some good points to make. But now they're just like directly gaslighting us. Like when the jury's like, do you think that could have been sped up 2 times speed or whatever with the drone? Because he's saying like it takes like 9 minutes to walk from point A to point B. And like the fact that the jury was just smart enough to pick up on that, I'm like, I love this jury because like I'm usually the Debbie Downer and the cynical one, but I was like, you know what? What if the jury pulls through? What if people are capable of seeing through bullshit?
I mean,
So,
the jury has shown some like healthy suspicion.
yeah,
They're asking about like the handling of evidence. I mean, they're basically asking about evidence tampering and like is that possible? Like they are,
Yeah.
like they've already like picked up that there's some shady stuff going on, and they are questioning it. And the thing that Mullen pulled was like, I mean, they're hurting themselves by trying to pull this stuff because that. For what I mean, by the grace of God, this jury is like pretty keen. They're thinking about things.
right.
Like, and you caught Mullen lying. He said it was 9 minutes, and then he had to admit that it was 20 minutes.
What a piece. Oh man, watch my mouth. Watch my mouth. Okay.
I mean, it's some shady stuff, man.
It's
like, and they're doing it for a reason because it's beneficial to their timeline because they know they're in trouble.
Yeah.
They're totally fucked. I mean, pardon the French, but geez, it's this. I mean, it's almost as if this was meant to, I think there's 2 good points. Never meant to go to trial, first point. Now, because of it, it's almost like this is meant for disclosure. It's like, we're about to show the world how terrible Carroll County is and this whole endeavor. I'm flabbergasted. And I've already had bad feelings about this entire thing, but I'm surprised and shocked.
Yeah. Yeah. For real.
Well, I mean, the problem is like, even if you were suspicious, like even the people with the highest suspicion of the PCA and the search warrant, like you didn't think it was this bad. Like,
no, exactly.
No, I mean, we were going by what the defense had highlighted and what the things that were obvious lies and omissions, but like, it's so much worse than that.
Right.
And even the witnesses now, like, I'm not family bashing here, but the things the family said on the stand in the first couple days, it turns out it's all contradictory to what they've said for 7.5 years. And you've got to wonder. It's like, it's not just any one party here.
Right.
I'm trying to keep up with the chat.
Few things with the family member stuff. It's just kind of like, I didn't notice like a huge
like disparity in what they were saying.
I mean, the biggest things I thought were the eyewitnesses with like these detailed descriptions that are just like, you left all of that stuff out of the search warrant in the PCA. If you included it, the judge would have been like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, it's not that guy. What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing, guys? What are you smoking? And does Dina really think that by resigning or, like retiring, he's not going to get questioned?
Well, I mean, that's the reality of the world is that judges don't often get a lot of oversight or questioning.
That's true.
And
That's true.
if you dip, then you're basically already out. You're done. You're good.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's only I don't know what day we're on. Are we day 5 now?
I'm calling it day 5. Yeah.
Day 5? Okay. So it's only day 5, and it's like, I'm already exhausted, like mentally. I've been watching Burkhart, Lawyer Lee, and Bob and Alimata, and Criminality. And it's like, I almost just wait for everything to get published. I don't really go into the lives now so that I can listen at everything on 2.5 or 2 times speed, because there's so much information to take in, and everybody has their little discrepancies between them, from whether or not they can hear properly, or like if they got to see something that was posted up there or they didn't. It's so much.
Oh yeah. I mean, we've seen that with even the discrepancies between the media outlets. I mean,
Yes.
I mean, a big part of it is people can't hear, and then also you've just got all these different perspectives, and like that's the point of having audio or a transcript or video, is that there is an actual like objective reality that people can look at and say this is what happened. And Judge Gull has made it so that that is impossible, and then we have to just live with this chaos, and
Well,
that
but
we
they,
don't know exactly, even if
yeah,
the word gets out of what's happening generally, it's not exactly, and it's going to be, and it's,
right,
it's easy for somebody to say something completely random, and like who's how do you prove which is right? And when there are two,
well,
like this
and then,
brought up,
yeah,
Marv actually, I don't watch Marv a whole lot, but she did a really good like detailed accounting of the opening statements,
uh-huh,
and she was pretty fair with it. But like one of the things was like heard that Derek said potato pancakes, and then people were like, no, they said banana pancakes. She's like, no, that's what you double
right,
down, said potato
yeah,
pancakes. But like when you've got like everybody else says banana pancakes is what they heard, which would match what we've heard in the past.
right,
But when you've got a discrepancy about that, what is the point of reference to say who's right and who's wrong? Like you can't prove
exactly.
anything. You can't
Well,
prove
so,
like
but you have to
just
wait for the transcripts to come out, and that's going to be like $2,000 at least a day for how many days, and then it's going to be up to us, the public, to pay for them, and we won't get them till much later.
yeah,
So
it's insane. And also like, hey, that there's
money
like
making scheme.
there's been a couple instances where things have magically changed on a transcript.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
really?
So like, I mean, how much do you trust that?
Nah, yeah.
Um,
Okay.
and hey, maybe the reporter hears something wrong. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I agree, Rebecca. Rebecca says, I can't wait till the defense. That's when things will pop off. I bet you. I bet you. I guarantee you.
I mean, at the rate things are going, like, I mean, I haven't seen anything that's can like convincing me of Richard Allen's guilt. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
there are a lot. There are like, it maybe not be the most typical scenario, but there are a lot of cases where the state does their case, and the defense. It comes time for the defense to put on their case, and they just rest because throughout their cross examination, they think that there's sufficient doubt. Like,
Right.
I mean, at this rate, I mean, I think that they would really like. I think that they've got stuff. They've got stuff that
Mhm.
they want to show, and they filed their motion to bring the Odinism back in, and like they've got stuff that they want to present to the jury in the world that they like. That's a little bit more than just
Well, I'm interested. Yeah.
like they've got information that they want to present.
Yeah. What do you think of what they all the witnesses that we at least know about, like Chadwell, Klein, Ricci?
I think
I
it's
can't. Okay. All of those guys. What do you think of that theme? Do you think it's just solely going to be like, look at how badly their cases were looked at or handled?
no. I mean, I think that's probably none of it.
Okay. So you
I
think it's going to be more criminal related?
I think it's something. I'm not sure. I think it's totally speculative what they would
Okay.
what they would testify to.
That's fair.
But I don't think it's going to be like, look how the investigation into me went.
I know, yeah.
I don't think that's the thing.
That would be a bad move in my book because it's like, oh, poor little convicted jerk faces, you know?
Well, those are just troll farm talking points right now. But
Mhm.
no, I believe what it really is looking like for me, and this is a challenge I'm putting back out, but I don't think it needs to be. But my thoughts are that right now the defense has an opportunity to actually put relevant elements out about this case that may or may not be relevant to the uh, acquittal of Richard Allen, or the defense of Richard Allen. They could, if things are going so well and their defense is doing its job,
Mhm.
they have the opportunity now to reveal for the world things that will open the door for future strategies in pursuing a resolution to this. I mean, it's really I don't think it's ever hardly done, but I think in this case is so big, and I think it's looking like there's such a huge criminal undertaking here that this opportunity exists for the defense to shed a little light onto it for people, and I'm leaning towards that's the goal, and that's
Mhm.
what we're going to see is a disclosure of sorts that we wouldn't get otherwise. It's sort of a one shot, you got one shot and this is that shot.
Mhm. Mhm.
I mean, it's
Amen.
also just like, I mean, also don't want to. I mean, you don't want to play it safe, really, when a guy's life is on the line too. So, like, if you,
Right.
hey, you may have, like, essentially, assuming the rest of it, assuming it goes well for the defense, you do you want to just rest on that, or do you want to like, do you want to
Drive it
route
on
them? You
home.
want to route
Right.
them, run up the score. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
show the other 100 ways that this isn't the guy because it's somebody else.
Go for the 2-point conversion because you can.
Yeah, they're just gonna run up the score, man. No mercy rule.
Yeah. No mercy rule. I like that rule. Oh boy.
Comments are great. I encourage you guys to look at them. I'm trying to put some up on the screen, but they're going by real fast. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh my
and
gosh.
please, anyone, who did I see? I saw a few people come in new. Let me just say, if you're new, you want to join the stream or the panel, just hit the link here,
Yeah.
right at the top of the chat, or I should point downwards. Right here, down at the top of the chat, I pinned the link to get into the backstage area, and I'll let you on.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I don't really have too many questions other than like, obvious questions. But yeah, catching the Rick Snay live with Matt Sullivan was really interesting because I remember hearing about like Lee Kerr, but not really understanding it in its context. Was Libby? We don't know for sure who was with Libby's phone, but now we do. Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah, it sounds like this. There's just updates coming out now about more of the afternoon testimony. It sounds like they're getting deeper into like what's time stamped on Libby's phone.
Okay, good.
Um,
Dean, what's your Twitter so people can follow you?
at FIEN_X.
Yeah, that I intended to do that as part of the stream, is to go into Twitter and start reading some Twitter, but I don't feel the need for it now because the chat is so rich with
Yeah,
activity right now. So I'll just stick with the chat. But I had
yeah,
intended to kind of do some Twitter surfing, but
right.
I know maybe you guys in here we'll collectively Twitter surf. Okay.
Is that
Criminal underworld. Yeah. I mean, hey, that's the deal. Like this case, look, we're not going to dance around it or tiptoe around it. This case is a criminal underworld case. Okay. I call it a cartel for lack of a better term, although most people think of word cartel and you think of brown people. This is a white boy cartel operating in the Midwest with Indiana's home base. It's who I believe is responsible for these murders. And I hope that we start finding out.
Mm-hmm.
I know the defense is going to have a long list of witnesses, and I would not be surprised if you are shocked by some of the witnesses and what they have to say. So
Hmm.
I'll just be praying for that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it sounds like they didn't go long into the autopsy then if they're already into phones.
Yeah, I was a little bit. I mean, I'm not sure if the big surprise there is just some of the lack of detail as far as like you didn't hear anything about like stomach contents or anything like that. Like
Yeah, because that was
they didn't really nail down like any sort of good range of time of death. Like, I mean, it's
well, at
kind
least
of
what they're
kind of
reporting right
empty,
now.
kind of empty as far as what we've heard.
Right, but it could come out that there was more detail, hopefully.
Well, I mean, yeah, I assume that some of the reports will be in the evidence, but we won't see those. Maybe the jury will examine those.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not going to get. I mean, this is the whole thing. People are like, "Oh, I want answers. I want answers." But you're not going to
Yeah.
see the trial, and you're not going to see the evidence. Like you're. I mean, like unless you're sitting there in the trial, like at the trial, you'll see it flash for a little bit, but you're not going to like. Normally, this stuff would be published. You know, like you're not going to get the John O'Keefe dog bites on the arm that you can look at and be like, what do I think about this? The public's not that kind of
All
stuff.
intentional.
Oh
Our
yeah.
Yeah.
judge, who paraded around as an advocate for transparency, is actually obstructing justice and causing a complete wall around this case. This case is not sealed, ladies and gentlemen, but for all intents and purposes, because of
Yeah.
our unhinged, combative judge, it is. And so, like Fiend's saying, we get nothing. We get absolutely nothing, and there's a
Like
reason for that.
there is a process where like if you really wanted to be secretive, you could follow a process and seal things appropriately. And they're just like, no, I don't even want. I just want to do whatever we want to do. Like, which is
Yeah.
what they've done in this case the entire time. They just decide whatever they want to do, regardless of any pre-established process or rules or anything, and it just goes all out the window, and they just do whatever the fuck they want to do.
Gosh, like I never, how everybody was like, well, I blame the Supreme Court of Indiana. And I definitely see what they're saying now. Like they should have at least chastised her harder, you know. I don't know.
Oh no. Well, yeah. I mean, by not removing her, they almost just gave her like they almost empowered her to just
Yeah, all
do
the
whatever.
power. Yep,
If you can't get booted for that, you're not going to get booted for anything. And like if that's the
right.
trouble you're going to get in, you may as well just do whatever you want.
Yep,
And she has.
yep.
It's unbelievable, really. I mean, I'll believe anything at this point.
Yeah, I will too, actually.
I'm actually astonished that Baldwin and that the Supreme Court of Indiana did the right thing and righted that course. So it's actually kind of astonishing. That's one of the. There's been a whole bunch of serendipitous like blessings,
Mm,
make that would lead you to believe there's some divine hand at
that's
play
true.
here, and
Yeah.
that was one of them. I mean,
Even poor Librado or Librado, he was like, I think he's genuinely innocent, and I'm scared. Like, I felt bad for him. Oh boy.
well, I
He was.
think the most egregious thing about Libredo and Scremin were that when Baldwin and Rozzi were reinstated and they had to walk,
Hmm.
that Fran Gull had offered them the opportunity for a Franks hearing, and I in a way that I don't even understand how it's possible because I'm not a lawyer. I just don't even understand how you can because the defense attorneys are basically in lieu of the defendant.
Hmm.
They should be considered one and the same.
Hmm.
How do you offer those attorneys the opportunity for a Franks hearing, and then
And
when
then not be
they
violent.
are replaced by Baldwin and Rozzi, who are merely just stepping into their shoes,
Right.
then you don't offer that opportunity or extend it to them. It's unhinged. I can't even think of a word to
So
describe.
crazy. And then they're like, but she's not like she's totally impartial. Oh man.
Well, I mean, she has history with Scremin and Librado. I mean, if she thinks that she can control people, like
Yeah.
where's the danger? It's only when you get a lot of pushback, which
Right.
she's going to get pushback from Rosie and Baldwin,
Mm-hmm.
that like, well, then you don't want to expose yourself to that risk.
Right.
Good point there. Good point. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was weird. The thing about Libby's phone having a picture of her funeral or something.
Yeah, that I mean, that's beyond weird, Adrian. It's completely insane, really.
So did they give the phone back by the
No,
end of the week?
I mean, I don't know, but I can't imagine any
Yeah.
scenario
I
where
don't.
that's possible.
Yeah. A lot
Right.
makes no sense, including the longitude and latitude on both
Oh
the
yeah.
Abby Snapchat and the Bridge Guy video. Like there's
Yes.
so much here, and
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll be learning about it as this
Mm-hmm.
progresses.
Yeah, like don't you have phones of your own? Like you don't need Libby's phone for that. If you're even gonna take picture. I don't know. It's very confusing. Yeah, and Latrell being in trouble. All of this is just so interesting. Like you could write like 3 900-page books on this whole case and you'd leave stuff out, you know?
Oh yeah. I mean, so the ACV says it sounds like she had iCloud syncing her phones, and that's what I thought at first too. That's the only explanation. But
Oh,
I mean, I'd have to look into it. But I saw somebody saying that it didn't work that way.
Wouldn't it be
2017.
clear to also wouldn't it be clear to the
yeah,
investigators if that was the fact?
yeah,
Um, sure, something has to be cleared because there has to be some sort
right.
of explanation for it. I mean, but what I had read, and I'd have to fact check this and double check it because a lot of times the stuff is not accurate the first time around. Because I do assume that it had to be like an iCloud, but I heard that it didn't work that way, and the only way that you could really sync between devices was via Wi-Fi. So basically, they would have had to have the phone on at some point, and then a family member would have had to be in the vicinity of the phone, like close
Mhm.
enough, like, you know, within
Does it have to
rooms
be on the
or
same
something.
network though?
Or I think it probably just has to be. I mean, it's kind of like, I assume it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm assuming it's kind of like an airdrop sort of situation.
Yeah.
That it was just close enough that it synced a photo over there.
Well,
And
that's a good
I don't
question.
know if there are other ones, but you know, clearly that's. I mean, it's not something that should be possible no matter what, because you know the phone, like you can't open up the phone to being contaminated.
Right.
And clearly it is contaminated one way or another if
Yeah.
there's a post-mortem photo in there, you know, like it's not possible, like without it being contaminated.
Yeah. So how do
Yeah.
you know what was deleted, what was added? You know,
I don't know.
there's a whole lot of shit hitting the fan. That's all I know.
Mhm. Maybe Libby was using a family member as hotspot. Oh, okay. Maybe.
I'm
I
not
don't know.
accepting any
I
fucking
don't know, man.
speculation until the actual
Mhm.
real deal comes out. But I mean, I'm still going back to these GPS coordinates or longitude, latitude on the various uploads that were supposed to be from that day from those devices.
Mhm.
Yes, I said devices, plural. Um,
Oh, yeah.
we there needs to be very clear explanations, and I'm sure the jury will be asking these questions, and I'm
Yeah.
sure the defense will be not forgetting about these issues. Kindness, it sounds like she had iCloud syncing her phone photos. So the
Mhm.
photo got synced after it was in evidence. But guess what? You can also delete photos throughout. Yes, you can, especially if you have all the logins and you want to go in there. You could even log into the iCloud from some device that was not prior connected to the iCloud. So
Mhm.
there's a whole bunch of chicanery.
Yeah, it could be something like that as well. You could just maybe log into an account, a different maybe it's just logged into the same
Laptop
account.
or another phone. Yeah.
Yeah, and then just if they power that phone back on, it just picks up what's on that account. That might make the most sense.
Mhm.
I don't know. There's only been there's some updates coming out, but the it's one reporter with Fox and CBS, and like they're very light on their
Details.
tweets. Yeah, so most of it's stuff that is very like, okay, any single sentence you say, I've got like a couple questions about it.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Sunflower Soul says would even mean that someone else was still logged into her stuff. Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Or had the password to be able to do so after the fact, which, like ACB says, could have gone in and deleted shit, added shit, blah 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 blah. Metadata can also be edited. Uh, I mean, there's a whole bunch of chicanery, and we're going to have to be getting to the bottom of it because I mean, just think of how the prejudice on this case works, where for 7.5 years you had the most intense shilling of a narrative. That's what I was getting at about the family's testimony in the Friday or whatever it was. Where for 7.5 years they spun all of these narrative points, and it had gone into extreme detail of every single point. You know, things like fighting the bodies, who brings who where, who does what with what, and who does what with all the details and details and details. Um, there's so many out there because for years and years there were so many stories told, and now we're getting to this point, and we're having placed into the record facts that don't or facts that don't match those details. So now's a
Mhm.
time for criticism and to
Mhm.
go back and to do some comparative analysis of all of that and try to say why
Mhm.
why would it be this way.
Mhm.
Chances are someone from this circle jerk has ties to florifiers. Yeah. And look at all the potential involved parties who have been arsoned after being killed.
Oh, God.
Um,
I hope that stops. Jeez.
That phone is now contaminated, says Jamie. I have a hypothesis. What was deleted at the police station on the 14th?
I mean, that's the thing. It doesn't even need to be anything nefarious. It's just the. I mean, it could be, but I mean, that's the problem. You don't know. Like it
Right.
when it's open to contamination, like that by itself is just a huge
Bad.
problem.
Right.
What's up, Richard? Richard says unfired round matched the fired round, and that does not even begin to add up. And I'm a retired law enforcement officer, and I know that for a fact. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's two different
Yeah.
things.
Right.
I mean, Jesus Christ. It's okay. I'm getting a headache. We're gonna have to end this shit.
Yeah.
Did I catch up yet? Oh, almost caught up. Okay, good. We're doing good.
Yeah. And the fact that nobody, well, maybe some people on the stand, but the guys that, if I were somebody that messed up evidence and I was law enforcement and I was testifying and I had to look over and see Libby or Abby's families, I would try to look, at least like, damn, I should have done better. Like there's always opportunity to go back and do it better. I wish I had done this and this and this, just so that, I don't know, like, I don't think anybody's been super blatant, like, no, I did a perfect job. But like, there's just not enough of that, like, humility or like shame, So, yeah. Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil, calling Dr. Phil. Was moved. Hopefully. Gosh. Hey, Hiawatha.
Anybody interested? Click the StreamYard link and join the panel. This is a
Yeah,
show
we don't buy.
with open lines for you to have your opinions heard. We don't have answers here. We have questions, and we want to hear your questions and your voice. Voices are important. I love the typing, but I love hearing the sound of your voice even more. Unless you're a certain couple females with vocal fry and just keep typing.
You don't like vocal fry?
No, I like Culver's fries with barbecue sauce. Okay,
yeah.
so
I'm also a barbecue sauce with my fries kind of guy.
Yes. Oh my gosh, genius.
Black pepper. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Looks like you've got a little bit of a better detail. So the medical examiner went in there and
Oh, good.
well, no, he changed his story without letting the defense know that he was going to do that, which is very, very shady.
Do you have any details, Bean?
Yeah, so the some of the better reporting, Dave with WIBC, the radio station is actually pretty decent. So I mean, basically, Dr. Roland Kaur, he said that, the defense was referencing what he had said when they said, there was a serrated blade and a non-serrated blade. Well, he came in and changed what he said, and said that, well, maybe it wasn't serrated. Maybe it was something related to a handle. And Rosie said, "Do you think it would have been good to contact the defense that you were going to come in here and change your mind?"
Did he get?
I'm sorry.
They were definitely caught off guard that he came.
Say that one again. It slipped by me. I was reading a comment. It sounded
Rosie
good.
said to Dr. Kaur, "Do you think it would have been good to contact the defense that you were going to come in here and change your mind?"
Change
Good
your
one.
testimony.
Oh, that one definitely stuck with the jury because yeah, that's a snip right there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a bit more detailed than what we
God.
had. Yeah, I mean, there's some.
What's this guy's name? Is this the core guy? Or...
Yeah, Core, Kohr.
Okay. Damn.
Okay. I'm not, and then most of it goes into the car boss stuff, which I think a lot of that had come out.
Mm-hmm.
That right there has just really burned me, man. That like
no, he doesn't have
I'll just let it go.
stuff. He doesn't have the afternoon stuff in here, which is I haven't seen any real detailed parts about this tracking this phone.
Yeah.
That I mean, I can read the really generic ones, but like it's just, I mean, it's just the basic narrative that you've always heard. That there's
Right.
nothing. I mean, you got some big question marks in here. Chris Cecil blows the timestamped cell phone data. 2:05, they're on the moon on High Bridge. 2:14 to shoot the video. It's 43 seconds.
Okay.
You see BG and perhaps hear his voice as well as Libby. Libby seemingly responds and saying, "We've got to go down there." 2:31, an app records the change in the phone's elevation, which this reporter says likely meaning the girls were being marched either down to Deer Creek or up the opposite bank where their bodies were found the next day. So I don't know like what somebody can hear. We've got to go down here might mean they need to go up somewhere. Like that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like down is not up, right?
Right.
Can we agree on anything?
Correct.
After 2:39, the phone never moves again. 4:06, Becky texts, and then within six, and then very very generically, within 6 hours, the phone dies. It spikes. It spikes on briefly at 4:30 a.m. about 8 hours before they're found. And that's as much detail as it got right there.
Wow.
I don't know if spike is the technical term. You know, it'd
Right.
be
That's
good.
what I was going
Good.
to ask.
You know, it'd be good right here. The power off log.
Right.
Instead of a
Yeah.
magical spike. You got a magic bullet and a magic spike now.
And you're still running with, oh, they must have gone down that hill across the creek and back up. Like it's, but you can't explain why they weren't found. It's a same old.
Yeah, there's some hand waving in the narrative, which is like I don't know, man. They're taking a risk when you don't provide an explanation to the jury because
Yep.
I mean, one legally like
Yeah.
things that aren't explained or explained very flimsily, like you have a right to provide an alternate theory for what happened instead of that because
Right.
what you just said was ridiculous. And then also like I mean, the jury is going to have I mean, is this a believable story? I don't know.
Not to me. I'd be so confused right now. I'd be like, why did the, like, I'm trying to take out all the stuff that I know, but just with like everything that I've seen and like no witness like making the grand slam home of like, oh yeah, that definitely makes sense. And that makes Richard Allen our guy. Like, I'd be like, why am I here? Why is this allowed to go forward? Why is everybody wasting their time? You know? I don't know. I think they're saving the confessions for last because those are going to be the hardest hitting because they come from his mouth. But you know, if they get in that he was like on the Halidol and he was experiencing psychosis and all of these different things, I think it's going to be completely easy to wrap their heads around, you know, that false confessions can happen. And that was already asked as like part of the jury stuff. You know, do you believe that false confessions happen? And most of them, I believe, said yeah. You know.
Yeah, I'm not sure the order that they're going to do this. I mean, the bullet and the confessions are going to be the the two big pillars besides
Yeah.
like the groundwork for it. But this is the sort of stuff they just. I mean, it's a TV news story, but it's got a synopsis. It's from Fox 59, and it goes into it understanding quote unquote unspent bullet evidence in Delphi murders. It's the key piece of evidence in the Delphi murder case. And quote unquote unspent bullet
Key.
reportedly ejected from a gun owned by the suspect. So they've only got like a couple sentences here, but then the last sentence is from their expert guy. He also explained why unspent bullet isn't necessarily the most accurate description of the evidence.
Hello.
Really? That okay, the media is they're ridiculous, man. They're ridiculous. They're telling you calling it an unspent bullet isn't necessarily fair. What the fuck else are you gonna call it? What do you think? Like, it's not a fired bullet.
It's a fireball. Is it cartridge? Are they like getting caught up on cartridge or something? I don't know.
I mean, yeah, if they want to get hung up on bullet, I don't think that's what they're getting at. I think
Yeah.
like, oh, it because it was ejected, it's spent in
Right.
some sort of form or fashion. Like, no, it's not. It's fired or it's unfired. Like,
Right.
don't.
Oh man.
Lord. I mean, they're just ridiculous, man. They're putting out these narratives that are completely crazy sometimes.
Do you think that's because they just don't know the case very well? Do you think that's part of it? Or do you
I
think
think
that
that's part of it.
okay. Yeah. They haven't been paying attention.
Well, it only takes 2 years to get caught up on the case. I mean,
It does. That's
Yeah.
true.
Well, they've got lots of other news stories that they're also not experts in reporting, so you know they just jump around from story to
It's what they
story.
do for a living.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't actually have to know the material that they're presenting. They can just say whatever and get away with it because
Yeah.
they have the platform to do so.
Well, and if law enforcement is telling them that, all they have to do is be like, "Oh yeah, we got the word of law enforcement, so we're good to go." Wow.
I mean, I think the bottom line here, though, that's why I'm not a pessimist, is like if you really look at it, they've got nothing. They've got an unspent round, which is not a science, and
Right.
they've got confessions made under duress and intimidations and under a psychotic break with
Mm-hmm.
medication. And
Right.
so all of that's extremely easy to defend. And I think if you have a jury that's already somewhat skeptical and asking questions, but hey, anything is, it's no reason to not do a good job. So,
Right.
possible,
But
but
I mean, they
this
didn't
case
want
is
to do
so
a good
weak.
job.
Someone made a snarky comment in the first 30 minutes that I'm reminded of, which was like, so I guess, no, they said, so much for the holding on to something important. Because, for a couple years, I've been saying, well, the only thing I can imagine to imply that he's guilty is if he is indeed guilty of some involvement, and then the prosecutor is holding on to some bombshell evidence that he's going to unleash at the last minute, and it's not looking like it. It's not looking like so much. It's so much for the bombshells. It's just like confessions in an unspent round. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think that. I mean, this was like until like there just was no good faith conversation ever to be had with some of these people. Like this, there's always this belief that there's all this other stuff that was going to be coming in, and I mean,
Right.
I don't like. I mean, they truly are true believers, because when Nick comes out with his 13 minutes and tells you it's going to be A, B, and C, it's going to be the bridge guy, the bullet, and the confession.
Brutality.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, well, whatever. That's just he's just
Yeah.
saying stuff. But like, you've only got these pillars of our case. Like, there's no extra stuff coming in. Like, he plainly told you. Like, and I mean, I guess they'll just have to wait until the state rests their case to see that like there isn't all this extra stuff that's coming in. Like you would. It was always obvious because it's never been mentioned. Like, you don't get all this way in a case, and there not be any references to all this other evidence. We know that there isn't that other evidence. So, I mean, I think some people were disappointed if they were pro prosecution and they heard the opening statement and like, wait a second, that is the whole case.
That's all they got.
That's because I really believed that there was going to be some secret evidence. Like,
Well,
there's
but,
always this secret
like,
evidence that's going to come.
dude, there's so many people that have like, you know, a criminal record. Why did you get the one guy that doesn't have a criminal record? You know, if you were like, if this is really just a flipping railroad job, why did you get the guy that was the least likely to have done this? I want to
Because
investigate that.
I mean, if hypothetically, assuming that's the case, then if he doesn't have dirt on anybody, that's like, you don't want to implicate somebody that, like, say there's multiple people involved,
right?
Like, one person ain't going down, like,
Mm-hmm.
and like, or on the other flip side, say hypothetically they thought there were more people involved, like, say they're mostly on the up and up, and they thought there were more people involved,
Mm-hmm.
like, they thought Richard Allen would like rat somebody out. I mean, I think the fact
Gotcha.
he
Okay.
hasn't, like, kind of shows that maybe they were wrong about it,
Right.
like, because it, like, if you thought there was multiple people and you think he's one of them, and he's not able to rat anybody out, what does that tell you? That he's not one of them.
And the flipping warden, like, backdating that confession or whatever that he wrote on, that was like, whatever, like, that to me is like collusion, because like the warden's all the way up in Westville, like very north of the state. Like, there's just all the shadiness that's going around. Come on, guys, like,
Yeah, I mean, that's
you should have at least made it you tried to make it believable. Like, find somebody that at least has like a violent history or like some sort of arrest record of, at least being brutal. I don't know. It's just insane. I don't know.
WTHR lawyer just reported it's the prosecution's job to paint the picture, and their picture is not clear. Yeah, but they still have to correct it, allegedly.
Congratulations.
Yeah, they should have watched some more Bob Ross back in the day.
But why? Oh, for a clear picture?
Help painting the picture.
Yeah.
My gosh. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, there's 280 in here, and
wow.
please give us 280 likes. Please give us 280 subscriptions, and please give us 280 in the chat commenting. I would love to hear your voice. The title of this show is Open Lines, Let Your Voice Be Heard. So if you'd like to join the stream with Phoenix and Adrian and I, please go ahead and click on the link that's pinned above the chat. We would love to have you. No matter what you think, we'd love to have you.
Yeah. And please follow Fien on Twitter at it's FIEN_X.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah.
And Adrian's channel is called In Light in the Dark, and maybe Amy or one of the mods will post a link to her channel where she does interesting reviews of Delphi related content.
Yeah, Fien, you are doing a good job of keeping the updates happening though, so that would be good too if people are on Twitter. I need to get back on Twitter, but I think I tried to nuke it and I think I was successful. So
yeah, I mean, it's got its downsides for sure.
Yeah.
It's good for quick communication of information. So I always used it for like sports updates and stuff, but like
sports ball.
Yeah, NBA trades, but like like for a media blackout on a trial, like, I mean, it does, like, you're gonna get that information first via Twitter.
Yep.
Like, if you want a quick update, that's where you're gonna get it.
Thank you.
I exclusively use Twitter for breaking news. So I hack it when I'm doing breaking news. When things are going down, I hit the breaking hashtag breaking or breaking news. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing Delphi, I use some Delphi hashtags, but I like the breaking aspect of Twitter. It's immediate and it's not always so good, but you get what you get. But
Right.
like Phoenix is saying, in this instance, with a total freaking blackout because of an unhinged cover up by Carroll County, all we got is all we got. So,
Yep.
but like I've been saying in the past week, it's for me, it's less urgent to be immediate and first with all of this information that's leaking out or trickling out. It's more important to be thoughtful, to consider what comes, and then make sure it's kind of accurate, compare it, and then form your opinions. Because I mean, I hate to say it, it's as if the defense is already presenting their case because the prosecution is presenting. You would think it would be a cohesive deal, but all I'm seeing is contradictions coming out for the most part and red flags. So it's like this prosecution is presenting, and for me, it's almost like it's already destroying its own case. And then
Yeah.
there's the anticipation of knowing that the defense will be presenting a hard hitting defense some point, and uh,
Mm-hmm.
and it's only going to compound. So I
Mm-hmm.
suggest all of you just watch all of our channels and look at Twitter and
Oh yeah.
really talk to each other. This is why I like having a chat based channel, because the conversation between all of us is far more important than any single voice out here. So let's keep talking.
Yeah. Amen. Oh, hey, woman.
ACB says if he doesn't have a record, he can't snitch. Well, that would be a reason. And he was there and kind of looks somewhat like an older guy that might resemble someone like a bridge guy. Yeah, I think.
Yeah. And he was actually there at some point, but they still haven't presented the cell phone stuff. Oh.
And if it's a setup, okay, if it's a total setup or a patsy situation, he
Mhm.
could have just someone off. Someone,
Yeah.
someone could have had a reason to target him with something like a setup if that's what we're looking at.
Mm.
I mean, I'd be based on what we've heard from the defense already about what Rick Allen's phone shows.
Mhm.
I wouldn't be confident that the state is going to bring that as part of their case.
And they have to, like, the defense can't have.
No, they don't. No, they don't have to be the only ones. Yeah, but you'll be waiting a while.
Oh, I
Like
see.
they don't like the state isn't. I mean, if they want to present a completely flimsy case that leaves tons of holes in it and doesn't provide lots of things that you should expect to see, like where
Right.
was Rick Allen's phone? What's up with his phone? Like, if they just want to like skip over it and not present it, they don't have to.
Okay.
I think that's detrimental to them. And
Right.
if shows what the defense said it shows, which is Rick Allen ain't there after 2:15, or like his phone does not place him there after 2:15. Like,
Right.
I'm taking their word for that. Like, I don't know exactly what it means. It could mean that it's off. I don't know what it means. But like,
Right.
it's better than it being on at the scene of the crime during the
Right.
crime, for sure.
Right.
And so,
Amen.
and I mean, you can infer from what the state doesn't present that it is not helpful to their case.
Right.
And that goes for anything that they do not present that you think that you should see, and you
Mhm.
don't see it, then it doesn't help them. Because if it
Right.
helped them, they would show you it.
Right. That's so true. Yeah. So much of like the law and trial is just, it's like the negative aspect too, like the what's not being presented, like you're saying, what's not being asked, what's not being said, all of those different things. That's very important. I hope the jury knows that.
I mean, the best thing going for Rick Allen's defense at this stage is probably that he's 5'5", because like
Yeah.
I mean, it's scary, because if this was a person that was like 5'9", just average height, like
Yeah.
they'd be screwed. They'd be completely screwed. There'd be
Really?
no like plausible deniability. They'd just be like, yeah, all those descriptions are close enough. right? Like if he was
Oh.
if he was just a bit taller, like and better fit this description, like that person, that hypothetical person would be completely screwed in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, they'd be more screwed, right?
Oh, by far, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, more screwed.
God. Support puts is saying that no signs of sexual assault in autopsy channel 13.
That's what they
So,
say. Now, I thought Riley Voorhees was a really great witness. You know, when I never understood why her sister Isabel has not been included in
mhm,
this, because she was there at the same time as these other girls, blah, 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 blah.
mhm.
But I thought she did extremely well and was reasonable. And I
Yeah,
wasn't sitting in the courtroom, so I can't really tell about the demeanor and the effect on the jury as a person, but
right,
she didn't seem to be corrupted or lying or combative, you know. And
right.
Yeah, the descriptions of the witnesses, yeah, I thought that they were very gracious towards her, which I assumed like that's somebody being a good witness. Like
Right.
you've seen it brought up a number of times where people have been given some pushback, and like, I mean, you're participating as a witness in a murder trial. It's not your job to do anything except answer the questions as best you can. Like,
Right.
and Andrea brought up a good point about how a lot of the law enforcement witnesses were acting this way, and that it's a bad look. Like it looks bad to a jury, like because
Mhm,
that's not your job. Like your job is to be a witness.
mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
and I get that like private citizens often like don't like fully grasp like how they need to act, but the law enforcement officers should know. And when they're acting shady on the
Yeah,
witness stand, like
right,
to be noticeable.
right. Hmm.
Lisa Brown, welcome in. Liza Brown, you had a couple nice comments. Thank you for coming in, Liza or Lisa. And thank you
Yeah.
for the super chat, Starlight and Heather. Heather, thank you.
Sacrifice shrine.
Oh, is
Herein.
that In Light in the Dark? Yeah, that's the type of channel. I don't know
Oh,
if
thank
the link is good, but it says at In Light in the Dark. See, there
oh,
you
thank
go.
you.
Thank you, Court of Public Opinion. My guests are great.
Mhm. Well, you know a lot of the law too. I mean, like you're at least curious being in the law, and you've helped me understand it better too, especially like for Indiana. Um, but yeah, it's still legalese is still kind of like overwhelming. So it's nice to get to talk.
Started learning a lot as far as this case as well, because I think a lot of things that are typical in Indiana rather than what's possible, like
Okay.
this case is, and Judge Gull has gone with what's possible rather than what's typical. Like
Okay. Do you want
I've
to?
never heard of like the asking the jury asking questions and stuff like that. And I mean,
Okay.
I'd speculate that it's allowable. It's the discretion of the judge. And then I mean,
Yeah.
and that's the whole point, is that she can weed in and out which questions she
Oh.
lets through.
Okay.
So she has even more control.
Okay. I see. That just gives her another element of control over the jury.
Correct.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't think about it that way.
I think there's a potential that backfires a little bit, because
Mm-hmm.
when they get
Mhm.
a feel for like what is being hidden from them, they're gonna
Mm-hmm.
make they're gonna make some inferences on that as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Why can't we know this information? And
Right.
and,
Right.
and it's gonna be a pattern. They're gonna recognize that pattern.
And it's
Yeah.
overall a good, though, because
Yeah.
I would surmise a large portion of the questions do get through, and it's helpful in the moment because, if they wait until deliberations to start asking those questions, it's already forgotten about, the memory's fuzzy. There's so much, but to do it immediately, it's good, I think.
No, that's a great point, Prof. I think that there's a lot, like especially in a long trial where like you've got the risk of forgetting things earlier. Like to have a participation will reinforce their memories. Like they're gonna remember
Amen. Yeah.
interacting and thinking about things and asking a question and getting a response back to it, and that's gonna like actually imprint in their brains a lot better than just sitting there listening to a 30-day presentation.
Oh
And
my
then,
God. You imagine?
go ahead and make your decision now.
Yeah. Ugh.
Well, see, we all choose to be here, but imagine some of the jurors who
Oh,
they
God.
didn't care about this before, and it may not be a thing they want to spend their time on, and then they're sitting there for like he says, a 30-day presentation.
Oh my
Jeez.
God.
A lot of chat. I'm trying to catch up. Let's see.
Well, they'll at least be out by 6 their time, so by 3 my time. Right? They're not going over 6, are they, Fiend?
I'm not sure. I think that's
Kind of the cutoff.
I think that I kind of suspected this is, you know, I've heard a lot of the law tubers kind of reference this as far as like getting in and just like people being able to report this, and just like I think that the scheduling will also reflect that Gull is intentionally inducing
Antagonistic.
chaos, just
Yeah.
chaos that you
Yes.
cannot anticipate what will happen from day to day. It'll start late, the breaks will vary, it'll end early, like it'll just be all over the place because she does not want consistency.
Huh.
She wants chaos.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very antagonistic. It's like another perpetration against the public. And it's because I think we're the only ones that are kind of like, wait, what? And then what? And what? You know, like we're the only people that are kind of calling it out. So that was Johnny Messer, Dawn, the girlfriend that had blood on her car, Johnny Messer's girlfriend.
Sure was. But it wasn't her. He had borrowed her car.
Right.
So it was them, not her. No signs of a struggle or fight, and that's really mysterious to me because I've been thinking about that and what you would have to do to have two young girls that are capable of moving around, not display signs of a struggle, or especially with a bladed weapon, because you would think that they're going to fight for their lives, and people always get defensive wounds, you know. So it's another anomaly in this case. How do they not show signs of a struggle? I mean, and have their
I'm
necks sliced.
speculating answering that question. I mean, I think that you're looking at either. I think this is why I always thought a lone wolf scenario was like. I mean, I'm not ruling it out as completely impossible, but it seems very unlikely to be able to do it without binding the victims in some way. Especially when you add in that there's a lack of defensive wounds. So some sort of like either physically restrained or chemically restrained seem to be like the options. And so if the toxicology doesn't show chemical restraint, how do you cut someone's throat open without them fighting back and putting their hands up to defend themselves? I mean, somebody's holding their arms. You know,
But
somebody's one person.
Right.
You know, at least one person's holding them. The other person's killing them.
Could we also consider too that they didn't do a good, like if they're not doing a good job everywhere else investigating it, could there also be, you know, the whoever is doing the exam just not, you know, could there have been some indications of somebody holding their arms or whatever, and it gets overlooked, you know?
Yeah.
Jamie said Richard saw three girls. Yeah, we believe that's Herrera, Mata, and what's the other girl, the classmate's name? I can't remember at the moment. We think it's 3 other girls. I do, at least. But yeah, Gray Hughes said the younger sister was too small to see.
Yeah, I mean, you get these very stupid explanations.
Oh
for,
my
like,
God. What the hell?
I would throw out a third possibility is that maybe Rick Allen saw Abby and Libby with somebody. That would be a group of 3 girls.
Hey, there's a good point there.
Or a group of 3 people, like he's not really paying attention. He doesn't care.
Wilbur. Mama, a True Grit Crime asked if it's Wilbur. Is the third girl's last name that you're talking about, Rob?
No, the three classmates, I'll get them for you guys, but it's not Wilbur. Someone in the chat may know their name.
What
It's,
what were the ones that you I did know this information before, but I know there's always a third one that's hard to remember.
It's the third one I can't remember. I'll dig it up right now for you guys since we brought it up, though, because these girls displayed signs of deception. I mentioned that in my last stream, but I might as well continuously repeat myself, which is a habit I don't have, so I have to make myself. But
Collier, Herrera, and Mata.
Collier, Emily Collier, yeah,
Okay.
Herrera and Mata. Now these 3 girls were classmates who were there. They all eventually sort of pretty much went into methamphetamine after this, and they initially, what I was getting at is they lied, okay? Because initially Becky Patty said they were there after 4 o'clock. Then they themselves had initially said they were there till 3:30.
Wow.
Then they changed the time to no, actually we were only there till 3. And now when people recount the story, they put them leaving before the other girls show up, and Richard Allen. So there's been a whole lot of fudging with their case or their part in being there. But I tend to go back to the very beginning, like Becky Patty said. They were there till approximately 4 or so. And
Did
so
you see what four? Yeah.
who Richard Allen saw. It's got to be on the list of possibilities because it was definitely 3, and they were definitely hanging under the bridge.
Mm-hmm. Did you see what Forbeth said? He talked to Derek on Facebook Messenger.
Mm-hmm.
I'd also just add, like, look at the scenario that you got with like some of these witnesses that are coming forward. They're like, well, I saw, like Sarah Carba. Like, I mean, she seems to have seen stuff that, I mean, did she really, or is she inserting herself into? I also saw something. Like that's a phenomenon that like does exist as far as like people saying like, well, I was there and I saw this, like just to like be part of the story. Like that's the exact thing that Rick Allen could have done as well. He could have been like, well, I was there and I saw this, and like, well, did you really? Like, I don't know. Like, we're like, do we need to take his word for what he's saying? Like,
Yeah, it would be nice to have the recording that
Right.
Dan Doolin always did with everyone he interacted with, except that day with Richard Allen.
Also, what happened with the investigation into him? Like, how? This is the big problem with Rick Allen is this guy is cleared once, if not many times. Like, what was the reasoning for that? Why don't you like? It's not just an oops. Like, that's what they want you to think it is. There was some thought process of why he wasn't the guy. Like, they don't want to tell you because that would be exculpatory. That's against their entire case. But they hiding it is, I mean, it's essentially a Brady violation. Like if they have a file on Rick Allen and it magically got destroyed, like that's pretty fucked up, man. Like they shouldn't do that. Like they probably had good reason for why he wasn't the guy. Like you don't just overlook a tip that's in the Orion database. Like it's not lost on a piece of paper or a napkin. It didn't fall between the cracks. Not reality world.
Why is Kayla so psyched? Did I miss something? Was that like 30 minutes ago? Sorry, Kayla. I'm glad you're hyped. I'm hyped too.
Yeah, I think unfortunately, like the mainstream media, like I noticed kind of a change with them today, like with their updates in the morning, and the people that have been reporting on Delphi pretty religiously for the first few days. This morning, I was like, "Oh, it's Halloween time! Like this, how to decorate your pumpkins and stuff." I'm like, okay, so they're
What?
they're going back to their like regular beats and stuff a little bit. You know,
Mm.
they're taking their foot off the gas and going back to the soft news stories that people find comfortable. Stories about trick or treating and stuff. The important things.
Yeah, well, as far as the hair, why was it not DNA tested the day after the murders? Come on, guys. I mean, it's like you have two dead girls. You don't DNA swab the sticks, which are naturally abrasive. You don't take DNA from the single piece of forensic evidence found on the girls, which is a hair with a intact root, I believe. And now you're scrambling to DNA test it because questions are being asked. Just a whole bunch of, I mean, it went like I've assumed from the very beginning of this, they're going to try to go with the incompetency argument. Okay. But you really have to ask yourself, where does incompetency end and collusion begin? Because what are the odds here? How much incompetency can we be dealing with one department?
Right. I think with the hair, I mean, what I've kind of gleaned is that, I mean, as ridiculous as it is, I mean, I think it's willful ignorance. Like, I think they're basically trying to say that they didn't even know it was a hair. Like, it was a fiber, so it wasn't DNA tested because they didn't even know it was a hair. and then the defense is like, hey, what is that fiber like, and you're like, and then they've got to be like, are you kidding me? Like, that's a hair. Are you stupid? Yeah, and you don't have any test results from DNA testing this hair. And they're just like, nope, didn't even know it was a hair. Guess we better do that now. DNA test it. I mean, it's really, really ridiculous. I mean, I don't know. A lot of people are like, "Oh, we'll get the answers when it gets to trial," but like, there's so many things that like you're not going to get the answer on. Like, you already thought that you're going to get the answer on this phone
Right.
turning back on at 4:30 a.m. But they're like, "Oh no, it never turned back on. Oh, it spiked on."
But
What does that
but we
mean?
can't show you the
What does
power off
spiked on
logs.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, where is the power off log? Like, where is the record that shows when the phone was turned on and off, and why is it deleted?
It's just as disappeared as uh, the recorded interviews of Sarah Carba, where she did not say blood once.
Right. Or anybody that interviewed in the first week, including Brad Holder, where it just vanished into thin air. All
Okay.
critical evidence, no matter who you were going to prosecute, critical evidence. And they just, I mean, I don't know. It's sad. Like, I'm really frustrated with this. Like, the more that's come out of like you already thought the investigation was bad, it's way worse than you could ever imagine. And then, like, is it even worse than that because they're willfully, intentionally destroying tons of evidence from early on in the case? Which, why do you do that? Like, if Rick Allen's the guy, why, like, that means that you were protecting him by destroying all the evidence. Does that make sense?
No, what if you just go back and you destroy the evidence that would implicate certain others you want to protect? So you're going to destroy this, this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this because it means something else, and this, and this, and this because it means something else. And then, are we good now? We're good. Okay, we're go. Let's go arrest Richard Allen. Sorry, that was a exercise in novelty of thought.
Well, I mean, the stuff goes back a lot longer than that, though. Like with the deleted interviews, that's from 2017 that they did that. So, I mean, that's so like so far ahead of them arresting Richard Allen. Like the like there can't be a connection. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it.
What do we know? Yeah.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around and I don't know if they just do this stuff just to mess with people, but like when they were saying the beginning, like the GPS for the video goes to Memorial Park, and apparently that does mean the Abby and Libby Memorial Park. So like, why aren't you referencing that location as something other than a place that didn't exist until long after they had passed away? What would you did? I mean, I assume maybe they just referenced it by the coordinates, but it's weird that they don't have like a reference point, like it's near the pig farm, or it's it's near this property, like because it was a property that before it was the Memorial Park.
No need to test or investigate anything if you already know the answer. Saves a lot of money. Oh,
Well, I don't think that they were necessarily had their eye on fiscal responsibility and being thrifty. I think that this entire case funneled a ton of money to them, and that the longer it went on, the longer they could continue to collect those checks.
the collusion came before Richard Allen's arrest. They thought that they had their story straight and that they could bully him into taking a plea. Yeah, well, I think that was the ultimate goal. We were going to bully him. Remember, they even went and I'm sorry to say, but it's true. They went and they recorded Kathy and his mother Janice having a conversation outside of the court solely for the purposes of trying to get in his head and coerce him into a plea. And it's just one point on a long road of trying to coerce him into a plea. He didn't do it. Now they're at trial and they got a very flimsy case and they're going to find out. But we don't want to put the cart before the horse.
I lean towards the theory where that some people were acting in at least some good faith and thought that he's involved, and he might not be the guy, but he's a guy, and he'll roll over on somebody. Yeah, he will take a plea, and then he'll piece it all together for us, and then it'll be solved. But that's not if he's not one of the guys, then that's not possible, and then they've already gone down this path too long.
Maybe that's why Doug Carter went along with it. I could never figure why he went along with it, but that particular strategy, or I don't know, a naive hoping, maybe could explain why Doug went along with it. It's, oh, well, maybe maybe we'll get somewhere with him.
Right. I mean, I would give a multitude more credence to a state theory that involves Richard Allen if they had come out and been like, and this was his accomplice, and like whoever it was, and like be like, okay,
exactly.
Now I'm ready to hear you out on what your story is. They didn't do that. They're going with nothing, and they're gonna stick with it.
Exactly. That's a good point. That's why we keep you around, Phoenix. Yeah, good point.
And because you're an adorable werecat.
with a cigarette or blunt.
Yeah.
Is it okay? Question, genuine question for the chat. What is that cat smoking?
Yeah, what are you smoking, Fiend?
I took the picture off of a birthday card that I saw one time, so
Yeah.
I assume that it is just a tobacco cigarette and not a.
Oh, okay.
This is how you shirk responsibility for your avatars, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh man,
All
yeah.
right. Well, let's see what we got here. Indy Cindy's still hitting on the spike.
I mean, the spike thing is it's ridiculous. Like,
It's spiked.
spiked on.
Hmm.
Good thing your toaster doesn't do that, or any an oven or anything dangerous. Your
Yeah.
vehicle. Well, oh,
I mean,
sorry,
I looked
officer.
into this
My
a lot, and like, and I may have looked into it more than they looked into it because, I'm curious. Is it possible? And like, there are some scenarios where something similar like that could happen, but like, I would expect that they would explain it rather than just going with a very generic. Well, it's spiked on. Like, they didn't even care to like do the amount of research that I did into it. Like, I don't know.
Well,
Like,
it's spiked
it's
on.
ridiculous. Like, well, they need to have it. Like, I mean, put my devil's advocate cap on here. Like, say that Rick Allen is the guy. Like, they are doing a terrible job. Like, they're not explaining anything.
Yeah.
Like, come up with at least a plausible theory that the jury is going to be able to follow along with. And like, if it's wrong, okay, but like, at least there's like something for them to grasp at. Like, they're just leaving tons of holes, and I mean, I don't think I think the defense is going to present an opposing theory that is much more cohesive, that explains all the things that you have questions about, and it's going to make a ton more sense. But like, if you're just going to do a bad job prosecuting it, don't prosecute it at all.
Right.
Just dismiss the case. Dismiss it. Dismiss the charges. Like,
Yeah.
they're not doing a good job. Like, they're leaving tons of holes. They're like,
And wasting a lot of money. Wasting a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They're putting themselves at a huge risk here because they're going to be in a lot of trouble if they don't get a conviction here.
Yeah. Question: you think we'll get grand juries out of this?
No.
You cannot commit to answer. Also, okay, or commit to not answer. Either way.
No, I don't think.
Wait, how do grand juries work?
I don't know that they utilize those in Indiana.
Okay.
Certain states will.
Feds do.
Yeah. I mean, that could be something. But like, certain states will, you've got some serious charges or something, they'll call a jury to review it before they even issue a probable cause. Like, obviously that didn't happen in this situation. They detained Richard Allen and wrote up the probable cause affidavit while he was sitting in jail over the weekend.
You got a good point here, Jenny. Okay, so yes, they could have been taken on the way to Abby's home because Abby's home was right there. Literally, if you look at a map, you'll see that they could have those girls could have easily, if they were dropped off at the bridge at that time at that place and chosen to go and walk to Abby's home, they could have easily done it, and they could have been taken from anywhere. That's the thing. We're so low on information.
Mm-hmm.
We really don't know what they're saying about the phone. It's kind of suspicious for me because I'm confident there's a second phone. We'll be finding out. With the one phone that we do have, for it to be sitting there from, say, what time was it, Phoenix? Like 3 something?
Yeah. It was, yeah.
Libby's
probably
phone when
yeah,
it stops moving.
2:30 is what they said.
Oh,
To what?
2:39 p.m.
Okay, 2:39 p.m. Okay, then you have till 6:20 or whatever when it gets dark. Okay, That's a lot of daylight. And then you have from sunrise at 7, whatever in the morning until noon. That's a whole lot of daylight for no one to see those bodies if that phone never moved from that particular point. It almost makes me think that that phone was dropped at that point. The girls went elsewhere for many, many hours. And then those girls returned over the course of the night to where the phone was, because I just cannot come to imagine how you would miss those bodies with that much daylight. I can totally see it in the dark. But
correct. I mean, well, I don't know. It's not a difficult spot to get to, no matter how many times they try to keep saying that narrative. It is upstream rather than downstream, but it's also far more accessible. Like, out of all the places that you're going to search, that's the most accessible place. Like, that isn't right there in the vicinity of the bridge.
and
That like you've got the public, like, other than the public in the public trail, you've got that part's going to be the most accessible. Like the south side, that side is difficult to search. Like I would acknowledge that. So if you're spending resources doing that, but I don't know why you would skip just like, they're like, oh, we're not going to go onto the private property. We were contacting the landowners to get onto their property. No, they weren't. Like they were like, the Derek walked all the way to the Ron Logan property line. That's on the Mirrors property. They were why everybody was walking on the Mirrors property, and then they just stopped because it was Ron Logan's property. No, like, you would just keep going. Like, why wouldn't you? Like, there's little kids missing, like, and all you have to do is walk straight up forward. Like, who? Like, I get why Derek didn't go down that hill because of physical limitations, but I don't get it for other people, because it'd be really obvious thing to do.
Exactly. And not just that, not just Derek there, because you're right there, but there were so many people there, anyone, and even that morning. But there's the whole additional factor that if you're standing at the Mears property not the Mears, apologize, ladies and gentlemen, the Webbers. If you're on the Webbers property on the south side of the creek, looking down, because it's very elevated. So for those of you who haven't been there, let me explain this like this. Crime scene on Ron Logan's, say it's here. Okay. Crime scene Ron Logan's. It's, let's call it sea level, creek level. It's low. There's a plateau of sorts. The Weber property sits up really high on the opposite side of the creek. Okay. I would say, I don't know, 50 feet up. Okay. So just think about that. Just like a sniper or any elevated position, it gives you a better visibility. So at that point of the year, when the leaves have fallen from the trees and you're standing here at this elevated perch, which is called the backyard or the Weber property, if you would go and stand on that perch and just look down at the creek, you would see across the creek. You're looking in very plain view. You get the whole view of the Ron Logan property that's down below near the creek, what we would call the bottoms. So it's just mind-boggling how in hours and hours and hours of daylight, even had no one traversed exactly where those girls were on the back end of Ron Logan's property, someone certainly would have had to traverse the Weber property. It would be the natural place you go when you go across that bridge. You end up right there. You're going to go probably check the house. And for no one to go around that area up there on those elevated positions on the Weber property it's really unacceptable. And
well,
so
there was a guy, and he did have a good vantage point, and he didn't see anything,
which makes you believe they were not there, because
I tend to lean strongly towards that they were not there. And I think that, like, there's even been some testimony that's come out that, like, the area around, like, the ground zero crime scene, that there were footprints and stuff all along in that area, as though people had previously traversed this area, and not just like like search party people, like, just random people like that had recently been walked around on, but it wasn't the killer. So like, how do those footprints get there if without the people being there, without them seeing the bodies? It's because they weren't there. And like, I mean, the I think that there's like this is why the terrain narrative is like frustrating, because it really discounts how quickly that you could pull into the back of the cemetery and two guys carry a body and be done with it within a very, very short amount of time. Like that entire, like they could have pulled in there and dropped off the body within 15 minutes.
If you got two, I would say if you had multiple, it's just like the
As long as you had two people, yeah. Somebody
two
doing it by
two or
themselves is going
more.
to be a mess. But
Same
like
with the
two is
victims
fine.
not expressing or showing signs of defensive wounds. If you had four guys holding down a girl, then you could assume that you could then cut her neck without leaving a defensive wound. And same for moving the girls, at least one of the girls. If you're trying to bring them from some other position, you have a few guys, you can get it done, and then you get the hell out of there. And if you're so those of you who don't know the terrain very well, if once you're at Ron Logan's and you leave those girls there, or even to bring them in, there's this little ravine that goes all the way out of Ron Logan's back area. So where those girls were left, you could almost duck into that ravine and leave out of there out of sight, because it is a bit sunken from the surrounding
Yeah,
landscape.
it just depends on the you mean like the erosion ditch between the Mears property and the Logan property.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if there's not like if there isn't water in there, like you can't. I've walked in that up and down that ditch from the cemetery down to the water and back. Like you can walk on in it. You can walk on the Mears side, or you can walk on the Logan side. Like, and they're all very like. There's no treacherous like stuff. I walked it in Crocs one time. Like, it's not a big deal as long as like I don't know like how muddy and icy it was at that time. It probably wasn't icy because it wasn't that cold, but depending if it's not super muddy, like that's easy terrain to just walk in. And yeah, like you've got a lot of cover. Like if you just actually walk in that ditch, because it's taller than you.
Yeah, it's a good ditch to kind of, and it's also a good way to travel without having to go over hills and crap. You can just shoot on right in that
Oh yeah,
ditch.
oh yeah. And at the bottom of it, I mean, it's without having to go down the hill from like the north side of the bridge side, like the trail side. You're already on flat land. It's just a straight shot. Like, and that's where the crime scene is. Like, you're just walking on flat land. Like, it's just minor brush.
Sorry, Fort Pitt says none of it is treacherous. It's not the rocks
Right.
or Appalachian.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I mean, I get that sometimes people be like, well, you get a 60-year-old woman saying, well, for me, I think I would slide on it, or I would trip or like fall, and be like, okay, but like I'm not a spring chicken, and like it's not treacherous. Like any like able-bodied man is just going to be able to walk around like that place like it's normal.
Yeah, it's just a place. Okay, guys, it's not the Rocky Mountains.
We're in Indiana. We're not in the mountains or anything,
Yeah.
man. Like it's just not like that. And people want to think that there's like this vast wilderness. This is a very small contained area. These aren't like massive tracts of land. We're like Indiana's way smaller than you think it is. Like there's some states where like it's just vast expanses. Like I mean, these are parceled like individual properties, the like private properties. Like they're sure you got some acreage, but like it's not vast. Like this is a very fairly contained area, and it's not that far from the bridge, which is like you had every reason to like conduct your search with the bridge as the focal point. Like if you just expand out from there, this is a natural place to look at.
It's ridiculous. I mean, that's why I recommend it to all of you viewers, listeners. Go over to Delphi. It's going to cost you money and time, but truly, like there's nothing like taking it in for yourself and erasing all questions that you might have.
Now, I will note that the mirrors have put up a lot of no trespassing private property signs. So
You may be arrested if you trespass, and then it means Carroll County's going to have your ass. So
yeah, I know that Logan that they had already kind of didn't really want people crossing onto that side of it, and had put up a little bit of fencing and at least tree paint, just indicating don't do it. Which is new, but that was new. But now the signs are new, so they're really created a barrier about going onto that property.
Yeah, so guys, don't trespass unless you're willing to go to Carroll County. Look, Sandy makes a good point that I hadn't really thought of, that it's a full moon in February 10 and 11. So it's not that dark outside. It's dark.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but it's night, but it's full moon night.
Right.
And it wasn't very heavy cloud coverage either on the 13th.
No, that's a good point.
The moon would have risen at like early 9 o'clock at night and then set at like 9 o'clock in the morning.
I mean, the other thing is, step one is that by the time that you notice they're missing, like there was a solid number of daylight hours that remained, and then add an additional hour to like dusk type of like light. It wasn't immediately pitch black by the time anybody was looking. They had daylight, and then they had daylight in the morning, and even then they're still like, I don't know what they were doing.
Yeah, there was so much daylight. I mean, come on, man. There's hours and hours and hours and hours of daylight.
They're also out in the country, and there's plenty of people willing to drive their trucks and stuff out there and light it all up. That was totally possible. There's plenty of people volunteering to light the whole place up.
Well, and if you saw people out there at weird times, you could be like, oh, they're searching for the girls. So it wouldn't have been too weird to like see people down in that area with flashlights, if there were, So they could just be we're just looking,
I don't know. I just don't understand what was going on. Like, I mean, it just didn't seem to be a good faith, good effort. Like, you could have pulled trucks in through the cemetery and just lit up that whole area. And guess what would have happened if you did that? You would be looking right at the ground zero, and all lit up. And you know what? You probably wouldn't have found them because they weren't there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like all this delicate talking. I know we do a lot of it because we've had to do it for years to not get totally fucking slaughtered online. But it really does begin to look like these searchers, volunteer firemen, these people, it actually begins to look, at least to my opinion, like they were forming a perimeter to keep people out. So like cordoning off an area. And you got to wonder, why is there a cordon at Ron Logan's? Like, why? If, given all that we've said, you've got hours of daylight, then you have searchers there, and then these grown men who are natural first responders, you've got handfuls of first responders. It's too dangerous for them. They got to go home and get some sleep. And it's okay. It's only 38 degrees out. We'll find the girls tomorrow.
Right. And I don't know, like the story of, I don't know, that was I thought that was new testimony that like kind of, that was not my understanding of like how the bodies were found. Like, you know, we heard about them, you know, getting everybody together and organizing for the search party. Like, that was all completely unnecessary because it ended up being like, you know, just a couple people that were just, you know, law enforcement adjacent, the law enforcement and Pat Brown that just, you know, they just found it by just doing the normal thing that we're already talking about. Just like, well, why don't you go look over here? And of course they did, and there the bodies are. Like, they're way ahead of like the big organized search party. Like, it was way earlier than that. Like the bodies were found much earlier than what they said that they were, which is weird. Also,
That's a whole other
and it's weird
conundrum
who
to
finds them.
answer
Like,
for.
why change that story? Like, that's the sort of story. Like, why not just say what happened, like,
Right.
at the very beginning?
Yeah.
Okay, we have someone in the backstage. Let's welcome Frankie. We've got someone named Frankie here. Welcome, Frankie.
Hi, Frank.
Hey, what's going on?
How
Oh,
are
I
you?
remember you from I remember you from Gray Hughes when he was picking on you one night and I started yelling
yeah,
at him
you were awesome.
on criminality. Yeah, this guy's out of control. I think we can all agree on one. I think we can all agree on one thing here. Okay, win or lose, Delphi, PD, the whole crew just seemed inept and idiotic. So I don't see how this is going to be any kind of positive turnout for these guys. This is such a stain on their reputation, and to let their reputation take over and take precedence over, you know, help from the FBI, and it has screwed up a lot of things in this case. So I don't know, guys. It's crazy.
Oh yeah,
It's crazy.
the shutting out the FBI thing is like, I mean, it's telling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the losing of evidence and, you know, we wrote over all those interviews. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. We didn't mean it, you know, but we promised. Nobody admitted to anything. Definitely Richard Allen, definitely. I'm a graphic illustrator. I've been a graphic illustrator for years. And the one thing that's always bothered me is the height of Bridge Guy. Learning about body proportions, the head is about 12 inches. If you take his head and you measure down to the bottom of those boots, it's 6 heads. That would be about 6 feet. So that sure as hell ain't Richard Allen. I don't believe it's Richard Allen on that bridge. That's just
Well,
me.
I mean, so this is part of the I mean, I don't say it lightly, but like, I mean, you're approaching like psyop type of like crazy scenario here, because everybody is using this video to you know, the
Yeah.
eyewitnesses are saying, coming forward and saying that's the guy I saw. That's the guy I saw. That guy is not real. That is
Or he may not matter. He may not even
I'm
matter.
just saying but it wasn't real to begin. It's not a real image. It's not a real image of a guy. They've manufactured this image.
I don't think that's true. I think there is a guy there.
They said it in court. They
said that they altered the video. They said they altered the sound. They enhanced it all. The whole sound part to me is just peculiar. Like,
It's unbelievable.
you cannot tell me that. Yeah, you cannot tell me that they picked up that sound. It sounds like somebody's walking behind you, speaking over your shoulder. You know what I'm saying? So there's no way that they caught that phrase coming from there. There's stuff about the video footage that they've just kept from us, and that I don't think it's manufactured. I think it's because it's telling that it wasn't Allen, and maybe that's why.
They said it was manufactured. They said what they did is they basically saw a very small image off in the background, and you couldn't see what it was, and they interpolated it. So like
Yeah.
they added frames which though do not exist on the video.
Well, that's a good point. That's adding pixels. We don't know which pieces. It would be interesting to see like which part of the facial features were added, which part of the jacket, like, is it bulkier than it should be? Is it, you know, there? But I think that the bottom line, like Frankie's saying here, is that it's no matter the outcome, it's a horrible look for this entire unified command and the law enforcement. And you know, it made me think that, yeah, it's like, could this be the primary motivation for the judge blocking transparency? Like, she knows it, she
Of
knew
course,
it.
of course,
Yeah.
of course,
Makes you
of course.
wonder.
Yeah,
It's so bad. It's so bad. So bad.
For sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to clarify, I mean, I think that there is a person on the bridge and he's off in the distance. I just don't think he was identifiable. And then to make it more identifiable, they basically added frames that did not exist.
Yeah.
We're also we're also being
frames.
told.
So like when you
We're
look
being
at
told. We're being told in trial just yesterday how there were components that were edited by this professional that doesn't know how to operate an iPhone. That frames and sound have been altered. Right. We don't know if there was 43 seconds. They tell us that. Right. What does the media do? They tell us things that we should just believe. We don't know if there's 2 minutes on there. We don't know if that guy came from the back of the path all the way up and they recorded 2 minutes of it. We don't know that. We just know that they said there's 43 seconds. But I mean, why the hell would they tell us the truth at that point? Have they told us the truth to this point?
No.
No.
No,
No.
not just
Everything's.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
they wanna
I'm
know,
sorry. Go ahead.
oh, Frank, they want to know what you think about the picture of Abby on the bridge. If you're in the graphic arts, like, what do you think of the pic of Abby on the bridge?
I think these are all legitimate photographs. I think they are all legitimately in that phone. I think that this is grandiosity and speculation to the highest of levels. I think we're overthinking things. I think Richard Allen's definitely not that guy. And we need to stop overanalyzing pictures. You know what I'm saying? They can change whatever they want. But the fact of the matter is they have shit on Richard Allen. Shit. So it just so happens, hey, look, this dumbass said he was there that day. We can't find the killers or killer, whatever you want to say. I don't know if it's 1, 2, 3, 9. But, you know, hey, this guy was there and doesn't seem like, oh, did your wife know you were there? Oh, well, I went home at this time. But, oh, so your wife didn't know where you were. Oh, perfect. This guy's going to jail. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't know. The whole body shape bothers me altogether, man. That the height of the picture, even if it's distorted, like if it's flattened or if it's, you know, exaggerated, the fact of the matter is exaggerating the body, you're also exaggerating the head. So if it's eight heads too high, it's an extra head. So either way. I don't think that's Richard Allen. I really don't.
Yeah.
And I good point. I don't either. I mean, it looks, I would say it could be a whole lot other people, but Richard Allen's facial features, no. But and the height. But someone made a good comment today, and I can't remember who it was, but they were observing about the audio portion. This was someone in the courtroom. I just can't remember who it was. And she was saying that she said basically to the effect of like, hey, that voice saying guys and down the hill is not the same individual that's way far off in the distance, this tiny, that individual saying guys down the hill is someone close to the girls, possibly right in the woods or right off the, 10 feet.
That's on your back. That's on your back, bro. Like that sounds like someone is, like we're talking right now, like right here with us. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no way it picked up that kind of audio, bro. I don't care if it's iPhone 86.
No audio. Yeah, audio doesn't work that way. Audio suffers an exponential loss at distance. It's just physics.
Think about the sound reverberation of that open space. It wouldn't sound like that. It would sound like you could hear it underneath the bridge. You know what I'm saying? And it sounds like he's whispering sweet nothings into her ear. So it's like there's either more video footage or something's wacky in Denmark. You know what I'm saying? Like something's
wacky.
Yeah, for real.
And why would law enforcement lead us on this path of believing this shit too?
Why?
Wouldn't they?
Because someone needs to pay, and they don't want to keep saying how much of a failure they are. What group wants to come out and say, yeah, you know what, guys, we really suck. We should have stuck with the FBI. We should have got the CIA. Whoever wanted to get involved, we should have had help. But we thought our balls were too big, and we got this. And you know what? We didn't have it. Yeah, I mean, dude, they have nothing. Now, I was one of those guys that said Richard Allen had to do it. Then I started watching the video of him walking over the bridge, and I'm like, that's not even the right height. And that's what started getting me to question things. And I was just like, something's weird here. And Now I'm completely on the other side, man.
Wow.
I don't know.
Yeah. That's a
And I love
transformation.
how people say, "Oh, why would you confess to murders if you didn't do them?" Well, I mean, think about how we are if we don't have food and sleep for a day, how we act, and then put us in a box for months, having the same, even more extreme restrictions, sleeping on piss-soaked mattresses, and yeah, I'm sure your mental state is going to be perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and like the only human action or reaction or interaction that you have is somebody telling you to go kill yourself, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty sick. It's a pretty sick situation.
Yeah.
I just found this channel. I just found your channel recently. I didn't even know you existed, and then I heard you talking one day and said, "Hey, this guy's got some interesting points."
Oh,
so I
thank you.
started following. I passed it. Yeah, absolutely. I passed it around. I work for Frito-Lay. I pass it around to all the guys at Frito-Lay. I'm like, "Yo, go follow this guy. He's got some interesting shit to say."
That's awesome.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it very
Yeah.
much. What was I gonna say? Oh, someone said something. I'll get back to it. Let's see. Oh, someone said, "Who is this?" This is Frankie. You wanna tell us a little about yourself? So they're asking, a couple guys asking, "Who is this?" This is Frankie. He's new to the channel.
Yeah, my name is Frankie P. I have a channel on here called Whiskey Thoughts with Frankie P. THOTS. It's a play on words because I grew up in the hood. So all the girls on my chip route said, "Oh, you should name it like thoughts, like thoughts." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay." So, but I started getting into true crime when this started coming up again. Like I remember being in the bathtub, having me some whiskey, and then hearing the story of Abby and Libby, and I was mortified. I remember the night I heard that they were missing, and then the day after when I heard they were dead, and I haven't stopped following it since then. And that really got me into true crime. And I mean, that's the main focus. I've been following this and Koberger, and I have a lot of strong opinions. Don't always mean they're right, but I do enjoy listening to other people's viewpoints for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
thanks for coming. I'm sorry, Adrian, just talk over you.
Oh, no, you're fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just really hitting me at this moment about this audio. Like, I think this is something that, like, what if this whole time we've been fucking obsessing over a bullshit video of someone who doesn't matter, and what we should be really focusing on is this audio? Because I don't know about you, but there's so many people everything's been compared to, but the section that says "down the hill" to me, it recently hit me because of someone here in the chat had made a video playing some old footage of Chadwell talking, and man, his voice, I mean, geez, man, I could never say that I heard a voice that was identical in my ears to the "down the hill," but when I listen to Chadwell, I would say, damn, that's his voice, man, to me.
Yeah.
Now, isn't it odd to think that what if this bridge guy is totally innocent and it's actually whoever abducted them was behind them and snuck up
Please
on them?
do not start more of this. Please don't.
Tell him.
We're gonna have 13 channels talking about this tomorrow. Like, oh God, it might have been someone else. Oh my God. I'm telling you, every time there's a new thought, it's like it sparks insanity. I'm telling you, bro. Some of the stuff I've heard on here, I've argued with Gray Hughes so many times. It's not funny, dude. I used to donate to his channel, and then I'm like, boy, you're a real asshole, even to the people who like you. I'm like, man, you're an asshole to the people who support you.
He's got a little bit of tunnel vision happening just himself.
Oh my God. I feel bad for the guy's wife. I'm like, man, your wife must have a horrible life. And he's like, oh, don't be my wife up. And I'm like, dude, I'm just saying, if your opinion's the only one that matters, then shit, bro. I said, please don't go on any juries because, damn, you screwing the whole trial up. But it is what it is, man. You got opinionated people, you got open-minded people. But I feel bad for all people's involved in this case overall, like the family of the victims, the family of the accused. Because everybody's life is now fucked up moving forward. And it's a shame. But that audio, brother, that audio is something. There's something there, man. And when they said that today, I almost had a stroke on Defense Diaries. I'm like, what do you mean? That's what they picked up? And no. And Bob Mott is like, I don't see how that iPhone, whatever the hell was 6, is going to pick that up from whatever the hell iPhone she had. Oh, I don't see how it's going to pick it up. There's no way. That's
There's
someone
no
like
way.
right on your back. That's someone right on your back.
Yeah,
I
and
agree
wouldn't it
with
make
that.
sense if they were snuck up on? Like imagine if they're filming looking this way, and then some guys sneak up behind them and maybe have a knife or a gun to them, and they're like, "You're coming with us now." It's done. That's the moment of gotcha.
The one thing I thought of, if well, let's just say for speculation, the guy on the bridge is real. Okay. The thing I've always thought was that she put the phone in her back pocket recording and turned around.
Mhm.
If there's someone on the other side waiting for her, he's the guy saying, "Hey, down the hill." The guy behind there, he ain't saying shit. He don't look like he's even moving his head. But so for them to say, but if there was another person in front of them, right, that came up from around the bottom, like he could be like, "Hey, down the hill." Now there's two. You know what I mean? And it would be closer proximity that you would pick that up. That's the only thing I ever came up with, that I thought legit, logically would work.
Mhm.
Well, it's an interesting that you bring that up too about the guy's head moving, because I did hear one of the attendees from the court also say that today or yesterday, that his lips don't move. They were like, how is he saying that when he's that far away and the mic wouldn't pick it up? But also that when you do zoom it in or whatever, the enhancement, that it doesn't show him quacking.
Mhm.
Right. Two, man. I don't know. I feel like there's always been two, and I get a lot of hate for that. But I mean, it's the only thing that makes sense to me is that you would pick up that volume back in that close proximity. There had to be someone near them, around them, because we weren't there. We don't know if she was holding the phone or if it was stuck in a pocket somewhere, and they just got bagged, and maybe she hit the power button. Maybe you hit the power button, it's in and everything. So maybe she panicked and tried to grab the phone and power it off. Not powered off, but like stop the video recording, or we don't even know, like I said, how much recording there is. They just say there's 43, but I don't know. I find that hard to believe that she was of the right mind to start recording this person that made her nervous, and then all of a sudden just stopped. I don't know.
I think that narrative was a law enforcement gaslight. I never thought that she started to record to capture Bridge Guy. I always thought she was doing something else, and Bridge Guy's captured in the background. That was always my
Right.
assumption. But like you say, with all the fucking lies, we don't know. We don't know whatever existed. I mean, what if there was a 2-minute video and
Right.
law enforcement has deleted a minute and 20 seconds of it or whatever? So
we're never going to know. We're never going to know any of this. I just hope that this guy doesn't end up in prison the rest of his life if he's not the guy. If he's the guy, so be it. Rotten hell, bitch. But I don't see no priors, no arrest logs. What? And then you just snap and kill 2 little girls?
Mhm.
You know
you
what
would
I'm saying?
think there'd be like some kiddie porn, like if you're going for little girls.
Any kind of that stuff. I mean, they were saying that there wasn't even regular porn on his phone. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, let's go get the librarian. He's the one that did it. I mean, he seems like a pretty boring guy. So I don't know. I mean, if he held it, it was all in his brain, I guess. I mean, but I don't know. I guess we'll find out in the next month. But
I think we're going to have an amazing, I just keep going on and on about it, but I think we're going to have an amazing defense presentation. I mean, I'm just, oh man, I can't even wait.
yeah, from what Bob Mata's saying and others, Lee, like it sounds like defense is bringing it, and it's good because they've been handed nothing but a shit hand since day one. And it's good to hear the jury asking the intense, in-depth questions that they are. The one that bothered me though was when they said, "Oh, could you have confused hair for a hat?" I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm like, come on now. And then the woman's like, "Oh yeah, well, I mean, I could have." It's like, oh shit, here we go. Like, don't start creating, a scenario. Could you see hair or could you see a hat? What was it? You know what I mean? I mean, come on. So
Yeah, because if you can't tell that, you're not credible to tell anything. I mean, come on.
Right. I mean, if you don't know if he's got a hat or hair, then how the hell are you describing what this guy looked like? You know what I mean? I don't know. It's been crazy, and it's going to get crazier, I'm sure. I'm sure there's going to be more bombshells. The coroner was supposed to be in there today talking, so I'm interested in hearing what that's all about. So
Me too, for sure. But yeah, they should be out,
Anyway,
you know.
yeah, they're gonna. Yeah, I always watch Defense Diaries. I love Bob Marley. He's funny as hell, but and he's kind of unbiased. I mean, he's on the defense because he is defense, but I mean, he kind of plays it on both sides. He talks
Yeah.
about both sides, strengths and weaknesses. But I gotta bounce, guys. It was a pleasure talking to you guys.
Good to see you, Frank.
Same here, Frankie.
Yes. Behave yourself and keep up the good work, man. I'll keep spreading word of your channel, brother.
Thank you very much. Welcome anytime, man.
Thank you.
That's
Awesome. Frankie P, ladies and gentlemen, go subscribe to his channel. What did he say it's called?
He's a nice guy. He's real cool.
Put it in the chat, y'all.
Whiskey Thoughts.
Thank you, Frankie. That was awesome to hear your voice. And hey, someone else come on in. Let's have some opinions.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to jump off soon. Get dinner going, but
When
yeah,
you're going, I'm going. We're done. I'm not
yeah.
I'm here by myself.
Well, I'm hungry. My blood sugar is like plummeting. So there it is. Heavy Metal Rehab. Whiskey Thoughts. Like that hoe over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way that
Remember Holman saying you could see what was going on out there? Oh yeah, it makes sense now, doesn't it? Okay.
Oh. Okay.
All right, so let's see.
Cool. Actually, anomalies. It's near the end of the bridge.
Well, remember this. Remember Burston saying, don't assume that the voice you're hearing and the video of the guy go together. He made it very clear early on. And for some reason, with the gaslight Ellie narrative, everyone forgot about that.
Yeah, he's a that guy's a class act. Yeah. Gray Hughes came in attacking me on an open panel that Teresa had. And yeah, he was cool. Frankie was cool. So, but yeah.
Why would Gray Hughes come to attack you on an open panel?
Because I was talking about woo-woo stuff, which is my favorite thing to do.
Did you say boomer?
No. Woo-woo. Odinism, ritual, woo-woo.
Oh, he doesn't buy that shit. Have you seen the Gray Hughes trespassing video?
No.
Oh, it's one of the most hilarious videos that you could possibly see if you're entertained by Gray Hughes. Yes, I'll make sure we find it so that you can appreciate it.
Mara is pointing out he did apologize, though. He kind of apologized, and he said if Richard Allen is innocent or no, maybe it was the Odinism thing. He said he'll send me like a free visor hat or something.
I have a Apophis says there is a twist, and Prof, you're going to love it. Well, I'm sure I will. I want to see some twists. I want to see all these defense witnesses pop up on the stand and let the cat out of the bag. There's a creator that uploaded an interview with an older male believed a Flano guy. Well, don't know what that means. And his voice is identical to one of the two Down the Hill audios. Who says to two females, guys? Yeah, well, I said before, someone who is familiar with those females, because that's a term of endearment of sorts. So I would think Mike Patty or someone like that. Okay.
There it is.
Red Dog, what up? Red Dog says, 55 says, the killing was personal, not motivated by sex, but for revenge. It was personal. RA did not know the girls. Motive is everything. Who was pissed off? Revenge for snitching by an elder. Yeah, I go with that. Let's hope we have a person like this on the jury. Oh, trust me, I believe we will. And look, what are the odds that we have jurors who have watched some of our channels?
Well, they'd probably have to answer the question like, if somebody's like, have you heard of the Delphi case? Then they would have to be like, yeah. And then they might get excluded. So
yeah, but they might not they might not go all the way with truthfulness on the questionnaire, but let's see. Sweet Dude Shibby is getting vocal. I just thought if something. Gray and others confirmed by matching anomalies in wood to video. If It matched, and Breezy was near end of bridge and was zoomed in. The camera must have been back farther. Yes, it could have been quite a bit off. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Like I said, man, and I'm not trying to rub it in or brag that I took a trip to visit, but I am telling you how monumental it is to take it in for yourself, and you get the lay of the land and the vibe and the atmosphere and the whole, you get like the 360 5D human spiritual intake of the scene and the lay of the land. And okay, see who we got here. Oh, someone mentioned about a gun. Here's the conclusion that I've derived. There is no fucking gun. That was an interpretation by someone, and possibly it's because they had a bullet, so they wanted to use the gun as a part of a narrative.
Exactly.
What if there's no gun? Or what if there's a
That's
different?
what I was saying. I was like,
Yeah.
what are you guys even doing? Like, what the?
I mean,
Oh.
what kind of evidence do we have of fucking anything? Like we know that Brad Weber had a 40 caliber Sig Sauer. We know that Ron Logan had some 40 caliber of firearms. So
I bet a lot of
we know
people
that
did.
law enforcement at that point in time, and even to this day, carry 40 calibers. And that used to be the preferred before the 9mm rounds got all supercharged and badass. Cops used to only carry 40 calibers for the most part. So who knows where that round came from? And if it came from Richard, I said before, how do you know he never trespassed Ron Logan's like everyone who ever has visited since the murders has done? Like, can we be real here? Everyone trespasses Ron Logan's. How do you know that at some point in time, someone carrying that bullet didn't trespass Ron Logan's? Doesn't mean they killed Abby and Libby with a bladed weapon or two. All right. Well, look what we'll do. Hey, Adrian, can you stick 10 more minutes? You want to give them 10 more?
Yeah.
Let's do 10, 15 more while we wind it on down for a landing. And unless anyone wants to jump up, the general public is welcome to my show today. I will stay around for an hour or two if we have people coming on in, because this is your show. I wanted to do an open lines, let your voice be heard for Abby and Libby show, and here we are. So if someone else comes around, I'll gladly stick around. Otherwise, comes around, I'll get off when Adrian gets out of here.
Yeah.
They were with someone they knew or trusted.
Baldwin, and say that the blown up image was a man. Boom, baby case closed. You, Alan Griffey. Love you, badass American.
Goodbye, badass.
Aw. That could have been fun.
Okay. If the murders were a message from someone to a family member pissed off, why would the family stay in the area knowing they could be murdered at any time? Well, don't they look afraid at all times to you? I mean, did you see the video I posted of Becky and Mike the day Richard Allen was arrested, looking like they saw a ghost and were about to peep and poop their pants? Okay. Has the family been under duress as well for 7 years? How do we know? Okay. Red Dog says, right, there was no gun. 2 knives is what I heard, and most likely would mean at least 2 people. I think we got, okay, let me break it down to things we don't have to assume. Like, I think it's pretty good deduction or speculation to say we at least have 2 perpetrators or more, at least. Now, law enforcement doesn't say it, but remember in the early days when they said, we believe there may be other actors, that we're looking for others. I believe you got at least, at a bare minimum, 2 perpetrators. So,
Yeah.
means possibly multiple weapons. multiple guys, multiple motives. They seem afraid because they're guilty. Well, there's that too. That's what I mean. Like, listen, the whole being afraid to talk about it or to voice your speculations or your concerns, I mean, those days are over. You know, those days are over. Like, we're free to talk here. It's like this case is not solved. It's nothing, you know, it's an open-ended double homicide of two little girls. So.
Yeah.
Sandy says, got to go touch some grass. Awesome. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do when I'm off of here, too. I'm going to get food and touch grass with my little boy.
Oh.
All right. Good to see you all, though. Let's see. Thanks for your time, prof and guest. Okay. How could an unspent round get into the ground if it wasn't stepped on? It was stepped on, unless it was planted. Good night, Nancy.
You can't grow plants from bullet cartridges, sillies.
Where there was a hog roast on Ron Logan's that weekend to cover up meth cooking smell and fumes. Hey, what evidence, Rolo? What up, Rolo Mata? What evidence? You got any evidence of that? I've been looking for evidence of that hog roast. If anybody has any evidence of the hog roast, would you please email me or leave it in the comment section? I've been trying forever to find evidence of the hog roast at Ron Logan's. And by that, I mean, you got pictures of someone there. You got testimony of someone there. You got personal knowledge of being there. Who knows anything about the hog roast that's not, I had heard what I had heard and heard was.
Mm-hmm. A primary source. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the hog roast. Yeah. There was supposedly one. Indy Cindy, but yeah.
Definitely two people. No way one person could have controlled both of them. They knew them because they didn't try to run at all. At some point, girls would have knew they wouldn't get out alive. Yeah, well, I think that you possibly could control them with a gun. Possibly. But it doesn't mean that Richard Allen controlled both of them with a gun in the way that they want you to believe. Okay. I will, Yaya. I will. Oh, thank you, Four Pits. Yep. I know it was mentioned a lot, but what evidence is there of it? I'm looking for that. Sketches were mentioned by witness. Put Jerry Holman on stand and ask about his crime con statement about Mike Patty being one of the sketches. How about let's ask Tobe Lesenby about being one of the POIs in the first days? Well, hey, we've caught up to the chat. Dude.
That was good. That was
what a
tense.
monumental exercise.
Yeah,
Thank you
dude.
for being here.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me.
All right. So, yeah, you guys help me with the subscribers to this channel. Go ahead and subscribe.
Yeah.
We're almost to 1,000 subs. Help us get to 1,000
yeah.
channel. I appreciate
Yes.
it. And shoot, let's get Adrian. Let's get a last closing statement from Adrian.
Oh man. Yeah, I thought this was nice just to talk about, questions, and I hope you do this again. Like, I'm sure there will be more questions for sure. The more days that go on, the more people are just going to, and questions in the like, I can't believe this sense, and it would just be interesting to compile. I know you've talked about this, like compile all of the inconsistencies. And I mean, like you have all the receipts to do it. It would take a long damn time, longer than the trial, but it would just be so interesting to just go through and have like a count for like every witness, basically. So, yeah. Yeah, that's like the clearest thought that's coming through right now. Sorry. Hmm. So yeah.
Nobody, nothing says you might be celebrating. Oh, you might if celebrating a pagan holiday, doing a ritual. I thought what he said was you might be celebrating a pagan holiday if you're doing a ritual. See, my vision is starting to blur.
Yeah.
I
No,
thought
it's
it was
okay.
a good joke.
Really subscribe. Awesome. Thank you, Deborah. That's awesome. Oh, thank you.
Oh
Amy.
yeah, you guys, please give some love to Adrian and look at her channel there. Let me put it up on the screen. Go subscribe to Adrian too, because she's a sweetie. Okay, look.
Thank
Adrian's channel is In Light in the Dark. Go subscribe to Adrian.
you.
And tell her you love her and good night and all of that, because we love Adrian and we're so glad that she made it.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later, Prof.
Okay.
Yeah, have a good night, and I'll talk
Good
to
night.
you.
And thanks for coming.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, she made the party. Thank you, Adrian. Okay, dude. And Phoenix left. He had StreamYard issues, and we had Frankie P. And wow, what a nice group of people. Who else did I miss? Was here earlier? I don't know. We have 4 pits all day in the chat, so thank 4 pits as well. Deborah says newly subscribed, love your channel. Thank you. What do you think about Keegan saying he was parked at the cemetery and Dad walked all bloody and said we had fun? Yeah, I think that's pretty fucking sus. I think that's pretty fucking sus. And what I want to know about Anthony _ shots. Anthony _ shots. Really concerning. Okay, thank you guys for greeting Adrian as she leaves. Wow, just God bless Adrian. Yeah, 10 more subs to get me to 1,000 subscriptions here on the backup channel. So please do so. Prof, I have long sandy brown hair. I could be BG. Sure. Yeah, sure. Makes sense. Makes sense. Clients are very creepy. All right. All right. Now, there you go. Good night, Adrian. Good night, Adrian. Subscribe to Adrian's channel. Awesome. 4 pits is the bomb. Awesome. All right. I think we got all the last words out of here. Prof, the question I answered incorrectly yesterday, the correct answer that needs to be discussed. You lost me, Lisa. Could you repeat what you said yesterday and what the correction is or something? I think you lost me. You lost me, Lisa. I'm too scattered right now. There's a lot going on. So please repeat that before we get out of here. I'll read it. But yeah, guys, I'll leave the chat open 5-10 more minutes while we get out of here. And I appreciate you being here. What a great time to hear some voices. And I'm glad to meet Frankie P. And so that's awesome. And yeah, you're right about the crime scene out there. Screams can definitely be heard. It's very loud out there. It's very loud out there on the creek. Okay, when you're by the creek, it's loud out there. Anyhow, you said what about the person? You said Ashley G, but it's Carmelita Conklin. Okay, Karma Burris. What do you mean? The last person to what, Lisa? I'm still not catching up. But you're saying it's Burris, not Garth. I got you on that much. Okay. Adrian is on the symbolism video with me. Yes, the symbolism at the crime scene. And it's still relevant. I know what's being said right now about the crime scene, but hey, I suggest you go ahead and watch that symbolism at the crime scene. I'll pin it here, or I'll post it here, because it's still relevant, despite it being months ago. Nothing has changed, really. The only additional point that has been added is you should be aware that there's a rune made of sticks over a pool of blood that identically matches the rune made of sticks that's laying on top of Abby's body. So isn't that odd? They did a double whammy with the rune on top of Abby's body. They also put it on top of the pool of blood at the crime scene. How wacky is that? Okay, so what else we got? If it's down there as described, there's echoes. Yeah. Oh, right. Derek snitching. That was Burris's boyfriend or husband or whatever it was. Yeah. Thank you so much. I get it now. Now I get what you're saying. I get it. Okay. All right. So we're ready to get out of here. That's all I got to do. All I got to say today. Whew. Wow. What a long stream. What a nice one. Are you talking about the Stevensons? It's still going. And, there's sticks on their bodies too. Makes you think about things, doesn't it? Makes one think. All right, Shibby. Thanks for coming around, Shibby. Thank you, Lisa. I get what you're saying now. So you straightened me out. Thank you very much for that. All right. And all those Burrises, they were out there those days. Yes. And look, Jackson Pierce has some nice videos, guys. Speaking of Karma or Carmelina or Krista, whatever name she's using today. Jackson Pierce's channel has some nice videos of late. So screenshots you probably haven't seen. There's some good ones. Okay. So we're out of here. All right. We're out of here. I am wrapping it up. What's up, Noe? Noe came in. Where is he? Noe came in. We'll see you later, Noe. We're heading out, ending the stream, but we'll see you later. Thanks for coming. Did they cross the river or the creek? The phone would have been waterlogged. Jackson does have good videos. Yes. Oh, Jackson Pierce. There you go. Jackson Pierce channel. He's good. He's good. Okay. He has a recent video on the BG audio. Uh-oh. I know what I'm doing after this. I'm going to watch Jackson's video on the audio. So boom, there you go. Which appears to be Chadwell, allegedly. Cheers, Prof. Okay. Cheers, Noe. Cheers, Amy. Okay, Rolo. I have Apophis, Ya Kelly, Red Dog, Nobody Nothing, Dick Redshirt, Kayla, Lisa, Slim Bob, Heavy Metal Rehab, Woman Doing a Shadow Band, Rick H. What's up? What's up, Rick H? Awesome. Kayla, Sweet Dude Shibby, Amy, Commentator Root, Nobody Nothing. I have Apophis, Noe Amos. There he is. Here's my symbolism video if I didn't already post it. Sorry, I forgot here. All right. There's some links for you guys to go entertain yourselves with. Jenny33, Indy Cindy, Starlight Selenite, Swade Smith. All right. Deborah K, Mar R, Yaya Kelly, Deborah. All right. Heather Brown, Ding Dong, and anyone else, Four Pits especially, and anyone else who was here. Chartreuse Cat, there she is. Thank you very much. All right, we'll see you guys later. I'm out of here. I'll leave the chat open a few minutes, but I'll see you later. God bless Abby Libby. God bless you guys. Take care of each other.